Speed's what we need. We need greasy, fast speed.
Yo, man. You already know. Man. Thanks once again for joining the Ramblin Mob podcast. You already know, man. It's your boy D-Ray in the building. Go ahead and these other guys introduce themselves. And we also got a special guest, but let's make it around.
Go ahead, Cody.
It's your boy Cody with a K. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Cody Wayne.
OnlyFans.
He be showing his feet. OnlyFans.
He be showing his feet. He be getting them like
that foot play.
Let me know what colors y'all want to see them toenails.
He be getting slapped on his thighs.
I do different colorways.
Be squirting lotion and shit all over him.
Oh, these could be yours.
Are we having them little the things when they get in, the little cushion things?
I'll be doing red, white, and blue for the upcoming baseball season for the Rangers. So.
Open the day.
Damn, not even for fucking July 4th.
Nah.
All right, well, this is All Rounds Boxing. Brian, follow me on Instagram at All Rounds Boxing. If you for your boxing needs, you can follow me there. But like David said, we have a special guest today. This man right here, we've known for a while. He actually put us on our first big show. And then after that, we continued to go on and on and on. He's been here before. He's the king. he's the king of Fort Worth, is what I call him. The king of Fort Worth. Nobody in Fort Worth has done more than what he's done.
That's facts.
And he's continuing to do more. He has, a lot of shit coming up this he has a lot of shit coming up this year. But yeah, we got the one and only SmoothVega, the Godfather.
Yo, what it do, ski? I don't even know what to say after that, dog. You know what I mean?
My bad.
Nah, I'm just fucking with y'all. Yo, it's gonna be here, man. Let's get to it.
Yeah,
do it.
So you already know, man. We always start off with a little bit of boxing talk. You know what I'm saying? So
this fucking microphone.
Yeah, but I don't think there's that much stuff. I know that stuff. Well,
Ryan Garcia is fighting this weekend.
Yes, yeah. That's gonna say.
That's about the extent of what's going on. And Triple G's fighting this weekend.
Yeah, but he's fighting like fucking 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, overseas, right?
Yeah. So I don't think nobody's gonna watch that.
We gotta see what's left there. You know what I mean?
I hope he loses. To be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Canelo said if he loses, then he'll look at fighting the winner out of Joe Smith Jr. and what's that other guy's name? The other champion. He's a Russian or a Ukraine, one of the two.
Well, the only reason why I would disagree with you on that is because I feel like in terms of the marquee, in terms of like blockbuster box office, Triple G still presents the biggest attention.
But how bad do you want to see that fight though?
I don't really know that. I mean, I do want to see it because I think Canelo stops him for sure this next time. But and I think it's I don't think it's going to be like, oh, fucking Canelo's going to go in there in the first round and knock him out. I still think it's going to be competitive for as long as it lasts, Yeah. But I do see Canelo stopping him. But I don't know that there's many fights that for Canelo that's going to be, like, attractive. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, certain, like, inside, like, okay, like, if he fights Charlo, bro, that's cool. If he fights Benavidez, that's cool. But, like, the average casual fan has no idea who the fuck they are. So, in terms of, like, bringing eyeballs to the product, I would like to see him fight Triple G one more time, and because that gives the promoters, if they're doing their job right, they could put a strong co-feature and bring a lot of attention to some of the new guys coming in,
Yeah.
But we know that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I mean, they still got I mean, I don't know about Murata.
He's good.
I don't know how much he had. I don't know.
That's a dangerous fight for Triple G.
Okay, so both of them are dangerous fights for both Canelo and Triple G.
Yeah, but it's more dangerous for Triple G just because of his age, I think,
and his lack of activity. But
that's true.
Homeboy hasn't fought since 2019 though.
Who, Murata? Yeah. Same thing as Triple G then.
Triple G fought.
He fought 2 years ago in December, or
that's crazy.
Something like that. But, besides the Ryan Garcia and Triple G fight, we also have another great card on Showtime. Lubin, what's his name? Erickson, right? Erickson Lubin versus Sebastian Funduda, or whatever the hell his last name is. That's going to be a great card, a good fight to look at. I think Lubin wins by knockout.
Yeah, I agree. And I think looking ahead, not to skip the fights that we have right now, but I think just looking ahead, you know how I feel about this month. You know, Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez is going to be, probably one of the best matchups of the year. I wouldn't say the best fights of the year.
It's going to be the fight of the year.
But it's just a strong matchup to kind of really see where Shakur's at, and then also to see if Valdez can really like present a real problem. Because I don't think you can count either one of those guys out.
Yeah.
But I think Stevenson has, he has the eye of the tiger right now. I think he's going to come in and prove a point. I think this can be his breakout. This could be what Mayweather and Corrales was to Mayweather. I think this could be for Shakur. A strong fighter that a lot of people think that can beat Shakur, but that Shakur is just going to possibly beat
I think he's going to easy. I think he's going to beat him easy.
Possibly.
That's just my opinion.
But other than that, I mean, shit, I don't really know what else is coming up in boxing right now that, that I'm looking forward to beyond that point.
Well, on the Ryan Garcia card,
fucking Earl Spence is fighting in a week.
Next Saturday.
He's fighting Ugas. Let's talk about Earl Spence and Ugas. Who do you got, David?
That's tough. If you get the Errol Spence, this is tough to say, though. If you get him pre-accident and possibly injured eye, maybe you can see Spence, winning easily. But if he comes in anything like his last fight, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, Ugas, I think he could surprise people. And I think if Spence comes in and he's underestimating Ugas, then he's definitely gonna get surprised, man.
What do you think?
I think Spence is gonna win. I think he's gonna knock him out.
But see, that's crazy that he says that, because I actually don't think he's gonna knock him out. I actually think it's gonna be really competitive, and I agree with you. Pre-accident, pre-Sean Porter fight, I think he stops him convincingly.
Yep.
But I think that with the accident,
both accidents,
the eye injury, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Danny, but I kind of feel like where Danny was at in his career when he fought Danny was never really a threat per se at 47 against someone like an Earl.
He was never a threat at 47.
Yeah.
We can just put that right
Period.
there. Shout out to Anthony.
I mean, it is what it is, right? I think that was a warm-up fight for Earl, and I think that he was a warm-up opponent that just happened to have a name, so I think this is going to be a little bit tougher, and I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think that it's going to be, and I'm excited for it. I want to see where Earl's at, because, I saw Danny Garcia came out, he was calling out Terrence Crawford. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's calling for the fight versus Terrence Crawford, which I think...
Danny Garcia?
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, I posted that. Apparently, Bud's going to sign with PBC, and that's going to be the fight, and then it's going to be the Spence fight.
Danny actually beat Terrence in the amateurs, which is why he's alluding to his history. Yeah. But
that ain't going to happen.
No, that ain't going to happen at all.
Come on now.
No, I think Terrence Crawford stops Danny Garcia. I think Danny...
Early?
Nah, I think he's still, 7-8 rounds. It'll go.
I mean, there was people that were saying since it was back and forth with him and Porter, then maybe it could go 12 rounds. But
I mean, Danny's not a pushover either. He's not. He can take a punch, but I think Terrence Crawford's going to beat him convincingly. I think.
Some people consider Terrence Crawford number one pound for pound in the world.
Yeah, I mean, some people do.
He's not.
Some people do.
He's not.
I think Danny's playing it smart, and he's just trying to cash out.
He's trying to get the money.
He's trying to catch.
Can't blame him.
I'm not mad at it at all, because he needs to stay away from some of the young guys. But I think Terrence Crawford beats him, and I think that's a good fight for Terrence Crawford as well, just for name building.
Yeah, for sure. On the 147.
Speaking on that, I want to mention your boy. I don't know if it's a legit or if it's an upcoming fight or if it's something that's just in the talking and like the preliminary stages of talking. But what about Mosley Jr.
That's happening this Saturday.
Gabe Rosado?
Yeah. Rosado's going to knock him out.
Yeah, Gabe Rosado's going to. I don't know that he knocks him out, but bro,
that's going to be Shane Mosley Jr.'s last fight.
It's so weird for me to even admit this, right? But Gabe Rosado's like one of my favorite boxers.
That's what I said. And fucking Anthony clowns the fuck out of me because of that.
But it's just like he never has a bad fight.
No.
You know, like he's just an entertaining fighter. And even whenever he fought Daniel Jacobs, even though Jacobs was like pretty much at this point,
Daniel Jacobs lost.
you know, he's washed at this point. It still was very like good to see someone like Gabe Rosado, who you see with like 13 losses on his record. But he, I mean,
Yeah, that
but
motherfucker has a lot of. Like, he has UFC type fucking losses.
Yeah,
but you know why he has a lot of losses like that is because he took a lot of fights like last minute.
Yeah, because he fought Triple G.
Last minute.
He's fought David Lemieux. Didn't he fight Lemieux?
No, I don't think he has yet. But he's fought a lot of cats.
He has a great resume.
And he can hang with all of them. Like even if he ends up losing, he still puts up a fight for as long as the fight goes.
Yeah.
And you can't really get him out of there. So I'm a fan of his for sure. And he definitely is going to be Shane Mosley Jr.
Yeah.
And that's this weekend?
Yeah. That's on the undercard of the Ryan Garcia fight.
Oh, okay.
Damn, I can't believe Ryan's fighting, man.
Who he's fighting. Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see if that happens because I don't have a whole lot of faith in Ryan Garcia, and I feel like a lot of these guys, like him and Teofimo Lopez, you know, they're kind of byproducts of the social media era, right?
Yeah.
And
Ryan more though.
Ryan more, but I think both of them. I think they're both like a little, well, not a little. They're very sensitive to like criticism, and I don't fault Ryan for taking a break for his mental health, but I also think that shows you that a lot is required out of boxing in specific in terms of just like discipline and motivation and giving your 100%. And if you're even a little bit checked out,
yeah, that's it.
You're gonna get knocked the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got very lucky that Luke Campbell didn't finish that job that night. You know what I'm saying? Because it was very close. Like he got caught.
That was actually here in Dallas.
Yeah, he got caught though. He got caught and he got dropped. So imagine someone with a lot more strength, like
Tank
or whoever, landing that same punch on him, or even Tio. He ain't getting up from that. So
yeah, that's true.
I think Ryan Garcia has. I think he's not going to look as good as they want him to look this weekend. I think it's a showcase fight. I think he's still going to win. He should win convincingly, but I think there's going to be spots in there that he's going to be tested because I don't think he's all the way locked into boxing.
Right.
He's
I
not.
don't think he is either.
He's more worried about social media.
I don't give him like with all due respect, like I don't give him much time as being a professional in terms of a boxing career. But I just want to make sure that he himself like can handle the pressures of being a celebrity altogether because I could see that kid cracking altogether, you know, and I don't want to see that happen to nobody. But
you definitely don't want to see in the middle of the ring either.
Damn,
that's true.
bro, that's true too. Which could happen.
It could.
I mean, you know, like we saw Victor Ortiz several years ago, like, you know, when shit got hot in the kitchen, he just like, yo, I'm out, I quit.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he ends the fight. I don't think I should be taking this type of damage. Remember when he said that against Marcos Medina?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, but Maidana's a fucking hard hitter. So I would have said the same thing.
He's a rugged. He's a brawler.
You know, but when you look at boxing, you think of warriors, you think of gladiators, you think of guys that are
Think
going to
of
fucking...
Gabe Rosado.
Gabe Rosado facts. Like,
For real, though. Like, come on now.
Gotti, Arturo Gotti, right? Like,
yeah.
those type of guys that just are fucking going to fight till they can't fight no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That fucking warrior mentality.
Well,
I need to get like a drop from Gabe Rosado for the page or something.
You mentioned.
I don't think Ryan has that, but just to let you know.
You mentioned Teofimo. You weren't on here since. I mean, they fought since you've been on here.
Yeah.
What do you think about how he is reacting and being toward Cambosa's about how he's like, oh, you know who won the fight? I mean, he's still
That nigga said he won 10 rounds to 2.
Yeah, bro.
You know,
I mean, he's still talking though. Like it's not. He. I mean, he thinks. I mean, I mean, who knows if the sport is fixed? But
That wasn't fixed.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But who knows if that's it? But I know that fight wasn't for sure.
Nah.
But what do you think about how he's reacting?
Man, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at someone like Teofimo Lopez, I have to really kind of go into like, for one, I was a fan of his, you know.
Same.
I wanted him to beat Lomachenko.
He's a great fighter.
But I think that these guys have, and it starts with the people around them, right? I'm not going to point out to his father. It might be other people, but I think he has a false sense of where he's actually at. You know what I mean? Like, I think, you know, like, he beat Lomachenko, and he did win the titles, but motherfuckers are acting like he just dominated Lomachenko. He didn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he dominated for 7 rounds.
Yeah, but it was very competitive. It wasn't like
After the 7
Yeah,
rounds.
like it wasn't like Loma just laid down. Like it was a competitive match, and to be honest with you, if they fight again, I actually think Lomachenko beats him.
So do you think that Lomachenko fights his pinnacle? I mean, do you think
that's where he peaks at?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, possibly.
Well, because he was talking about going to 147, right? Or
He'll
is
get
it-
knocked out at 147.
Or was it 140?
140. But what I'm saying though is to your
Yeah,
point
140.
To your point about Teofimo though, like I feel that I think going into the match they had this false sense of where he was at. I mean, everything about the way they operated and moved prior, like they took this deal with Triller. They were fucking gloating about how they are finally getting paid what they deserve to get paid. They're getting $7 million, per match, which by the way, Triller completely overpaid for him. And then they realized real quick they had immediate buyer's remorse whenever they went on sale and they couldn't sell tickets.
Yep.
And they kept on pushing the fight back. That fight got pushed back like 7 or 8 times because, quite frankly, it wasn't selling. Because guess what? Tio's not a draw.
Yep.
Like, Tio is known amongst, like, boxing enthusiasts and, boxing fans. But, like, to the casuals, like, he still has a little bit more to go before he becomes a fucking massive pay-per-view attraction. And his dad and him thought he was already there. Mm-hmm. So I think that by beating Lomachenko, may I add, like, that is a big feather in your cap. That is a big notch on your belt. But that does not make you, it doesn't make you an overnight boxing attraction where you're going to go into a stadium. And I think they were trying to put him in the Marlins baseball stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they had the first. There's like 40,000,
that's a big
40,000, 50,000
stadium.
seats. I'm like, bro, you're not gonna sell that many seats. Like you didn't even. They fought at Madison Square Garden, him and Lomachenko, and when they fought, they didn't even fight in the main Madison Square Garden. They fought like in the smaller room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, come on, bro. Like,
And at that, there was no fans.
yeah, you got to be realistic about where you're at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they just fought. I'm thinking about when he fought Cambosis. They fought in the Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you got to be realistic as to where you're at. So I think all that to say, that is also where I think he thinks of himself as a fighter. Some people buy into their own hype, bro. He's a young guy, man.
I mean, that's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you got to get knocked back down to earth, and it looks like that Cambosis fight kind of.
Well, he was open about his suicide attempt in like last year. He was open about his mental health. So there's a you never really want to assume, but you have this false sense of reality and live it in an alternate reality. And I think that he lives in an alternate reality where he thinks that.
Do you think maybe somebody on his team's like, hey, bro, kind of tone it back, or do you think they're just like, hey, just let him run?
There's a lot of enablers, I think, in boxing and in any profession where people like they don't want to like disrupt the cash cow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You're right. What I mean? Like,
whatever you say, man.
Whatever you say, but I think Teofimo is that right now, and I think that's what you're seeing with his denial of the loss. Like, I don't even think that he believes it, bro. I think he knows he lost. They had no game plan.
I mean,
they
I don't
went
know,
in there
dude.
like knock him out in the first round. And
Well, yeah, that's what he was trying to do.
It was immediately right after he was thinking like
Once he went out the way he went out, I was like, yo, he's definitely gonna lose. And then he got knocked down in the first round. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be. I thought it was gonna be an early night, but I mean, luckily it wasn't. But still,
I mean, I think of course, if it was just immediately after the fight, he was just like saying that, but. It's been months since they fought, and he still has the same kind of, point of view of it, and it's like, oh man, come on. At some point, I mean, I like Tio. I hope he don't, let this
I
loss.
like Tio.
I hope he don't let this loss linger and carry over.
He's already let
to all these other fights. He definitely has, but over into like these future fights that he has, and he's just still. Being out of shape after this one because I think that's going to drag him down.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a sad thing to see with the talent like his, and the future that he had, or he could possibly still have. It'll suck if he lets this linger and disrupt his whole game plan going forward. So
it might be his peak. He might because like there's certain guys that like we also have to analyze like how impressive is beating Lomachenko, right? Like how impressive is it really? Like obviously he's only lost to Orlando Salido, and then obviously now to Teofimo. But
I mean, do you think
he's technically an older fighter? Yeah. Like, if you want to be technical, even though he hasn't been a professional for as long,
right?
And I still think Lomachenko still has a lot to offer. But maybe he had an off night. Maybe you never know. Like there's a lot of ways to look at that. Like you could never define a fighter off of one win or one loss. Like Eric Morales was my favorite fighter growing up, and I remember he came off of beating like Pacquiao and Barrera, and then he lost to Barrera, and then he fought a guy by the name of Zahir Rahim in between those fights, and he lost to Zahir Rahim. I never once thought Zahir Rahim was the best pound for pound at any given time. He just beat Morales. And there's certain fighters that stylistically they don't.
It's a bad matchup.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup, and that might be the case with those two guys. I mean, I don't think so. I think Lomachenko beats him if they fight again, but I think the pressures of being a celebrity play a big part into Teofimo Lopez, and maybe he wants to sell that bullshit to the public because he wants the public to still see him as a commodity. But the truth is, his pride and his team's pride had to be hurt whenever they got that deal from Triller, and quite frankly, they couldn't deliver.
Yeah,
for sure. That's my opinion. And now they're just all that talk about we got what we're worth, we ain't going back, and guess what happened? They went back.
Since you weren't here the last time, there was one thing that I wanted to say. It's a question that we had either last week or the week before. It was last week, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you think Golden Boy Promotions is bad for boxing?
It's probably like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's probably 2 weeks ago.
Do I think they're bad for what?
Boxing.
I think they're bad for virtual these chickens. Look, man, the truth is, I got a great relationship with Virgil, and I can't speak on his behalf. Right? I've never once asked him any questions about Golden Boy.
Business.
I try to steer clear of that. If we're in an interview, I'll ask, but for the most part, there's been a few times where I'll engage on the Twitter, in Twitter beef with some of the trolls about Verge or whatever. And
I do it all the time.
There was one time I engaged in a Twitter beef about a sparring session or something along the lines of a sparring session, and his team reached out to me yo, don't even entertain those cats because of this.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think Golden Boy is bad because for so long I admired Oscar. I've always looked up to Oscar, but I think that what I'm noticing now, specifically with Virgil's career, and I get it, I understand it. Ryan looks like a star. He's a good-looking kid. You know what I mean? Obviously, you look at him and you can see oh man, this guy could be the second coming of an Oscar, right?
Nah.
But he's not I don't want to disrespect Ryan and say that he's not a fighter, but you know what I mean? There's a part of me that's oh man, he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
That fucking
hunger.
That warrior mentality, that fucking he's a gladiator. He could have the skills, but if he doesn't have the heart for it, and then you question
it's like a Vince Young.
Damn, that's a good question. That's a good comparison. But someone that just there's skills there for sure.
Yeah.
But I think Virgil is the guy that's on their roster right now that pops out to me. That's that's your building block, and I don't necessarily think that they've really centered their promotion around them. And maybe there's reasons that beyond our knowledge as to why that is. Maybe they, whatever it may be or may not be. I don't necessarily think Golden Boy is doing any service right now with doing right by him, and in turn, I think that kind of bleeds over to a lot of the other fighters. There seems to be a certain level of neglection within their own roster, because they have Rashidi Ellis.
Well, he's already released.
Oh, did he?
So let me tell you this, because I know it's just not Oscar De La Hoya, but I know he's a big influence on that brand, that promotional company. Do you think maybe it is the problem is Oscar De La Hoya?
For sure, I think that I feel like a lot of people had it out for Oscar. So I don't necessarily want to put the blame on Oscar and say, oh, Oscar is the reason why these guys aren't getting fights. But I think the PBCs and the ring stars like Richard Schaefer and all those guys that were that basically said we never want to work with Oscar again, have made it a point to not do business with Oscar, and
so do you think
being able to pair up fighters with Oscar? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you think the likes of Triple G and Canelo, they saw this happening, so they're like, you know what? Let me try to see if I can break free of this, get away from this promotion, kind of be my own guy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Canelo and Oscar. I know that from what I've gathered, and I'm sure there's way more shit that we don't know.
Oh yeah.
But one of the things that I was able to attain from a lot of it was that whenever the Zone signed their multi-year deal with Canelo Alvarez, and they were promoting it like Canelo got a 6-fight, $365 million deal or something like that.
Yeah, some crazy.
It was based off of, like basically Golden Boy, like guaranteed these Triple G fights without talking to Canelo, and then also wrote in their own deal to finance Golden Boy fights, and so Canelo kind of looked at that like, I get you're my promoter, but you're also looking at your personal interest instead of just my interest. Like they came to sign me, or they're signing this deal because of me, and you're doing side business based off of this. So, I
Which is grimy. That shit.
Well, and I understand why Golden Boy would do that, but at the same time, when you look at whether or not they're good or bad, or whether or not, there's a reason why, I'm sure that a lot of it is just, again, we don't know, but I think a lot of it is Oscar De La Hoya, and I think he's overstayed his welcome in boxing.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what my question should have been, but yeah.
Yeah, also, he apparently Canelo felt like disrespected whenever he told him that he used to get another trainer or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of things. I think, there's obviously, a lot of rumors of Oscar doing drugs, and, he's admitted to his drug use or whatever.
Hey, there ain't no rumors.
You can see Coke every time he talks.
Yeah,
just flying out chunks and nuggets. Nah, I'm just
God damn. That nigga don't even chop it up.
No,
I
felt bad whenever he was on the Triller, the Fight Club stuff with Snoop. And
he was fucked up.
He was fucked up. Yeah. I felt actually pretty bad. Like, I'm like, man, this is embarrassing. You know, like, and a lot of people were just laughing at him versus like realizing like this dude has a serious addiction that's not healthy. Yep. But I'm sure that played a big part into Canelo's like decision. Like, this is.
So you think that machismo, being, I know on certain drugs they take you to another level, especially if you're a fighter and you have that warrior mentality, which Oscar did, definitely did. Because he came out on one side and he said that he could beat Canelo. I was like, I don't know, bro. Come on.
That was the Coke talking.
That's definitely something talking, because I think he knows that that's not the case. You know what I mean? But I just think in general, like I'm like, yo, man, like Canelo's probably like, this is the person that's in charge of my business. Like, you are who you associate yourself with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think there's that part of it, and why probably he's not. I don't know, man. I just think he's overstayed his welcome, man. I'm just being honest. Like, I just feel like there's people within this community that want to see him out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I think that bleeds into his roster, and unfortunately takes its toll on someone like a Virgil Ortiz, who was scheduled to fight Michael McKinson, because, who else can he fight? He can't fight a PBC fighter. Yep. He said he could fight a top-ranked fighter, but, who's that top-ranked that's worth the shit at 147? That's not, Terrence Crawford, and they don't even have Terrence Crawford anymore, right? No. So it's like you're relegated to working with Matchroom or other promoters that are willing to make matchups, and that ultimately affects the fighter. But at the same time, the fighters are fighters, man. They're not the promoters, so they should. Right. It's not like these guys don't want to fight those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You gotta fight.
I mean, to answer the question, I think right now they're
on their last leg.
They're on their last leg, and they're definitely the least efficient and least effective that they've ever been.
Yeah.
So if they're bad, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, shit. I think that's it for the boxing. So go ahead and follow me on Instagram at All Rounds Boxing for all your boxing news.
And check out them fights coming up this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. If you want to make some money, boy.
All right. Well, don't bet Brian.
Yeah, seriously, you're gonna lose.
If you don't pay, he's gonna fucking let everybody know.
Boy, you're gonna get lit up on social, boy. But like I announced last week, we definitely got in two major sports. We got two playoff seasons coming up. Of course, I'm going to run through the NHL. I know not a lot of people are interested in NHL, but there's some pretty good seedings that can actually go out. So there's about 12, 13 games left in the NHL season. Basketball's actually only a couple of games left. But real quick on NHL, there's only two teams in the whole NHL that actually clinched a playoff spot already, and they're both over 100 points, and they're both the number one seeds in both the East and Western Conference. Eastern Conference, you got Florida Panthers. They're the number one overall seed. currently at 104 points. You got Carolina number 2, Toronto number 3, New York Rangers number 4, Tampa number 5, Boston number 6, Pittsburgh number 7. Between number 2 and number 7, there's a 6-point swing. That means these next 10, 11 games, 12 games, 13 games, whatever's left, you're going to see a lot of movement in the Eastern Conference. That's not the case in the Western Conference, but in the Eastern Conference, it's definitely the case. The number 8 seed is Washington Capitals. They pretty much almost got a lock. They're at 84 points, and number 9, New York Islanders are at 73. Number 10, Columbus is at 72. They're barely hanging on by a thread. So if Washington starts to slip up, of course, NHL is all about streaks. Any sport's all about streaks.
Stars just beat the Islanders last night.
They did. Islanders just lost. That was a must-win for Islanders, and it was a must-win for the Stars. But Islanders lost, and that hurt their playoff chances going forward. So if Capitals do their job, they win out, or if they win the majority of their games left, which they have about 12 games left, 13 games left, you can see the Capitals go ahead and clinch that playoff spot, and that could be the end of the Islanders and the Blue Jackets season at 9 and 10 respectively. But you're going to see a lot of movement. So by the next time you hear this podcast, we should definitely have seedings for the Eastern Conference and the West. But moving on to the West, you got the number 1 overall seed, actually the number 1 overall seed in all of the NHL, the league. You have the Colorado Avalanche. They're at 106 points. Number 2, Calgary Flames. Number 3, Minnesota Wild are both at 91 points. You got St. Louis Blues, number 4. Edmonton Oilers, number 5. Kings, number 6. 7 is the Nashville Predators. 8 is the Dallas Stars. 9 is the Golden Knights of Vegas. They're all.
I thought they were the Kings.
The Vegas? No, they're the Golden Knights. Yeah.
Los Angeles is.
Yeah, LA Kings, they're number 6. So Calgary and Minnesota, number 2 and 3 are at 91 points. You got St. Louis Blues at 88. That's the 4 seed. Edmonton Oilers, 87. LA Kings, 86. Nashville, 84. Dallas, 83. And the number 9 seed Golden Knights of Vegas, they're at 82 points. Barely hanging on, you got number 10 Winnipeg Jets at 76 points, and number 11 Vancouver Canucks at 74 points. Of course, you're gonna see a lot of movement. It takes a couple of wins, and then you're jumping up 3 or 4 spots, and from the 8 seed up, and which 8 seed is Dallas Stars. Not gonna go too much into the NHL matchups because, like I said, there's about 10, 11 games left. But Stars have 13 games left, with 7 of those being against teams in or playing to get into the playoffs. So they have a tough road going down the stretch. So hopefully they can get in. These are big games. They can capitalize on winning these playoff games.
You said they got 7 games?
They have 7 games against either teams in or playing for a spot to be in the playoffs.
All right.
So out of 13 games. So 7 of the 13 are going to be against.
So take care of 6. Split the rest of them.
Yeah.
They should be in, right?
They should be in, for sure. Especially, like I said, all the other. I mean, they're Dallas at 83 points. St. Louis, the number 4 seeds, at 88.
Well, what if they beat the teams that aren't playoff teams, but lose to teams that are playoff teams?
Then I mean that's tough because then, okay, they play.
I guess we'll just have to see.
They play the Canucks. They play the Oilers. They play the Wild.
I guess it all comes down to points in the end, right? So
yes, it's all about the
doesn't matter
points.
who you beat and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, they got 3 important matchups out of the West. They might got 4. I think they might play St. Louis. I'm not sure, but they play Minnesota for sure. They play Edmonton, and they play Vancouver. Them are all teams in or trying to play for a playoff spot. Those are must wins. You have to beat them teams. You beat them teams, man. You're doing your job. You never want to go into the playoffs losing against potential playoff teams. You don't want to do that because then you're going to come out just completely, on the wrong foot, and that's what you don't want. But like I said, next week we'll definitely dive in deeper on playoff seedings and things like that when it comes to the NHL. NBA playoffs. This is the one that's going to come close.
Hey, the Lakers are out.
Yes, exactly. The LA Lakers are out of the playoffs.
Talk about a build team that can't do shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, with a couple of games left, most of these are already locked up. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think.
Yo, read out the West seedings right now. As stands.
Okay, the West, you have number 1 Phoenix
Okay.
Suns. You got number 2 Memphis Grizzlies.
Wow.
3 Golden State Warriors. 4 Dallas Mavericks. 5 Utah Jazz. 6 Denver Nuggets.
7.
As of the play-in tournament, which is 7, 8, 9, and 10, you got 7 Minnesota, 8 Clippers, 9 Pelicans, and 10 Spurs.
Motherfucking Spurs.
So basically, on both
So
sides.
how does that work? The plan? Because I don't know.
Actually, I just looked it up today, honestly. So I'm glad you actually said so I could have it refresh in my mind. So basically, how the play-in tournament goes is the 7 seed is going to play the 8 seed. The winner of the 7 and 8 seed is automatically locked at the 7th seed. The loser.
That's crazy.
Of this, the loser of the 7 and 8 seed drops down to play the winner of the 9 and 10 seed. Whoever loses that game between the 9 and 10 is out, and they have to play again
The 8th.
to be the 8 seed. So
That just sounds like it was designed for LeBron to get into the playoffs.
I'm going to tell you though. I mean, I'm going to tell you now. Of course, this was in the bubble when he was with the Lakers.
Exactly.
But the East. In the Eastern play-in tournament, it makes a lot more sense than it does the West.
Who's on the East standings?
Okay, the East standings, you have number 1 Miami Heat,
What?
2 Boston Celtics, 3 Milwaukee Bucks, 4 Philly 76ers, 5 Toronto Raptors, 6 Chicago Bulls. Play-in tournament, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got Cleveland, Nets, Hawks, Hornets.
Yo, Cleveland.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, Cleveland, yeah.
Yo, I don't keep up with basketball at all.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is on Miami?
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
That's how-
Dude, yeah, and Bam Adebayo.
They made it to the finals against the
Yeah, they
Lakers.
made
In
they
the
did.
bubble?
Yeah.
Damn.
The Cavs at the 7th seed and the Hornets at the
Who
10th
did the
seed.
Cavs have?
They have
Kevin
young
Love.
stars.
But
Nah.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
they
have
have
Kevin
young
Love.
stars. Yeah. They're all within 2.5 games.
Hey, so the Grizzlies are second in the West.
Yeah.
John Morant's that
John
good?
Morant. I mean, he's carrying that
They
team.
got
man.
Steve Adams too.
Yeah.
Yo, so let me ask you, what about the Pelicans?
They're
That's who the Spurs
they're in
play.
the play-in
So,
tournament. Yeah, they're
so
in the
whatever
nice-
happened to Zion Williamson?
He's out.
Still out. But
Yeah.
they said he might play.
Oh, so now they're coming back and saying that? I mean, they're gonna need it.
Damn, because you know how whenever they came out of the draft, there were like
Yeah.
a big debate, like who's going to be the better player, and everyone's
Yep.
like John Morant over the course of time is going to be the better player.
Yep.
Damn,
Yep.
let's prove it to be true.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the play-in tournament for the East as it stands right now, it makes a lot more sense because you got 4 teams within 2.5 games.
Who comes out of the East? Who comes out of the West?
Um,
Give me your prediction.
I think the number 1 overall seed in the East is way overrated. I think they might get upset either the first, second round.
You talking about
I think
Miami?
the Heat. Yeah,
Is it an upset in the second round though?
Nah.
as the number 1 overall seed? I mean,
Who you got?
it's
Is Brooklyn in the mix?
no, they're
in the
the 8th
playoff.
seed. Yeah, they're in the play-in tournament.
What?
Yeah. So
All that talent?
yeah, I mean, well,
Same shit with the Lakers.
What about Philly?
Philly is number 4. So I'm gonna tell you, I like Philly.
That's what James Harden now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I don't think they'll make it.
Who makes it out of the East is what I want to know.
I want to say Bucks or Celtics.
Yeah.
The Bucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
I
about
think
the
Bucks or Celtics.
Who's on the Celtics right now?
You got what's
Who's their star?
the Stars? What the fuck's the guy's name, man?
Who?
The Celtics.
Tatum.
Yeah, Jason Tatum. Like,
Okay.
terrible with names.
I know he's a-
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, he's a baller, bro. But
Damn.
I mean, I think Celtics and Bucks. I mean, that's gonna be a tough.
What about the West?
It's gonna be
You got Dallas.
It's-
Dallas got a
it's-
chance.
No.
I mean,
I'm gonna start watching.
Of course
if
he's gonna
Dallas,
say it.
I'm gonna start watching if Dallas goes.
They ain't gonna go. So you ain't
tell
gonna
you.
watch.
I'm gonna tell you. In the West, it's more about matchups. 100%.
You think Golden State's out of it? I think Golden State's gonna go all the way.
Nah, fuck no. They won't go all the way.
What?
They got a chance.
I
I
mean,
mean, Phoenix is good.
Steph's still laboring, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably, but he's still hurt. That's gonna hurt him. I can tell you like this: Dallas is the number 4 seed. I'd rather them stay right there. They're only a game back from Golden State for the 3 spot. I'd rather see Dallas play Utah instead of Dallas jumping up to 3 and playing Denver. I think they're a bad matchup. I think Denver's a good matchup against Dallas. I think Dallas is. I think they'll lose against Denver in a 7-game series. I think they can beat and steamroll Utah. They match up completely great with them. I think they'll put a.
Who's the top 5 players in the league?
Luka, Ja, obviously
Devin.
LeBron.
LeBron's still in the top 5. Y'all was still.
I mean, you got Embiid, you got Jokic.
Steph.
Yeah.
When healthy, yeah, he's definitely there. But top 5 for sure.
Right now.
Yeah, you got to put Embiid, you got to put Jokic.
You gotta
Giannis.
put Luka.
Giannis.
and
I mean,
so LeBron's not in the top 5.
No,
Who?
John Morant.
Yeah, John Morant's definitely in the top 5. He has to be.
I mean, okay, look, they're talking about the NBA, the MVPs, standings, right? And
Is he not in the mix?
they're saying you got to put LeBron in because he's going to lead the league in he's going to win the scoring title. But
That's all he's playing for.
missing games doesn't go against your scoring title. I mean, it doesn't go against your average. So is he dropping these games for a reason?
That's true.
Seriously, like, is he dropping these games for a reason?
I think LeBron James is on steroids.
He might be.
I've always said that.
I think he's a beast.
He's a fucking physical specimen.
Yes, bro. He's outrageous.
I know. I've always felt that. I was like, man, this dude's on steroids.
I mean, the last time I seen somebody like that
if
was
you Google it,
Terry Crews.
Google LeBron James steroids, you'll find a lot of shit on it, bro. I was like, I'm convinced. Let me see who else. Where's Damian Lillard now?
He's hurt. Was he hurt? Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, but he's still in Portland.
Yeah, he's in Portland.
Yeah. Is he gone after the season?
He's in
there.
Portland for life. He ain't never gonna win a title.
He's never gonna win a title, and it's sad because they're doing.
Chris Paul's still with Phoenix, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
They're winning without him.
No, he's playing.
Well, he's back, but they've won and they've clinched the number 1 seed without him.
Okay.
They clinched the number 1 seed like the long ass time ago.
Yeah. They're 8 games up on Memphis. But going back to the play-in tournament real quick, it's easier. It's better for the East, but it's terrible for the West. You got the number 7 seed that's gonna play the 8 seed, which is the Clippers. Which I think Clippers are a bad matchup for Minnesota. So I think you can see a team like Minnesota drop down to 8 because I think they can beat either Pelicans or Spurs. But here's the thing. Here's where it goes bad. You got a Minnesota team that's 45 and 35. They're 10 games up over 500. Let's say they lose to Clippers. Let's say Clippers is a bad matchup. They lose. They drop down. Clippers get the 7th seed. Clippers are 39 and 40.
What?
So they're 39 and 40. So they're 5 or 6 games behind Minnesota in the win column. So you got Clippers get the 7th seed. You got the 10 win over the 500 team in Minnesota.
Go ahead and say it.
Go against either the Pelicans or the Spurs. Right? Now listen. The Pelicans are 35 and 44. The Spurs are 34 and 45. Or 35 and 45. If either one of them teams upset Minnesota, you're going to see a team that's 10 games below 500 make it
into the
playoffs over a team that's 10 games over 500.
That's crazy.
It is. That is absolutely nuts. And I feel so bad for Minnesota to be in this spot.
Did you feel bad for Green Bay?
Damn.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
I feel bad. You know what? No, I feel bad.
I mean,
I feel bad because I used to be an avid NBA watcher. Like I was religiously into NBA back when NBC had the
NBA. Yeah.
But man, when Kobe retired, as soon as Kobe retired, I retired. So I don't keep up with basketball at all. Like I think I'm biased. You know, the era of basketball that I grew up watching. You know, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, obviously Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like to me the greatest era. Even Dirk, you know, Dirk is a fucking amazing player to watch. I don't know shit about. I know the players. Like you can name every team, and I can name at least one player off the team. But I just don't keep up with it at all, bro. I think I've kind of like more catered to the NFL. I guess I kind of became more of a football fan over the years.
Yeah, I can see. I can see why. I mean, I think LeBron kind of put a damper on everything.
Yeah.
But also the super teams did as well. I think you know jumping from super team to super team or creating super teams.
Or trying to, because
Yes.
even the teams that you would think are super teams, like for example, y'all talked about Brooklyn. You know that didn't mesh, obviously.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
does Ben Simmons play? Or
No, he hasn't
his,
played.
yeah, something about his back or some
Yeah.
shit.
So I mean, but you know, the Clippers, they attempted to do it with Kawhi and Paul George and all that. And you see how that's working out.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
if this is-
Kawhi hasn't played this year at all, though, right? I don't think he has.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't even
Yeah.
know. What did he get hurt? Or like
Didn't he have surgery or some shit?
load
I think
management?
so.
On his shoulder or something like that?
Load management.
The whole fucking year.
Man, what y'all think about Russell Wilson getting traded to the Broncos? That's pretty
That's-
fucking crazy.
I mean, that's gonna
AFC
be
West is absolutely
Yeah.
stacked.
It's
man.
gonna be.
They're gonna
it's
suck.
be
It don't
tough.
matter.
So who are the Seahawks? Who are the Seahawks getting that quarterback?
Drew Lock.
Yeah, they have Drew Lock right now.
Is that who they're going with? Because I thought they were going to trade for somebody. So
I mean, Kaepernick's still floating around.
okay,
Yeah, they said he was gonna like
he'll be in the
actually.
XFL.
They said he was actually interviewed with like 4 teams or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Who, Kaepernick?
Yeah.
yeah, he'll be in the XFL.
I think he's actually worked out for at least 10.
Yeah, he was at Michigan's pro day, I think,
Yeah.
and he was throwing to the receivers.
Yo,
Michigan.
so Andrew Luck went where?
Andrew
No,
Luck.
Andrew Luck. My bad.
I'm about to say, damn, he retired a couple years ago
I'm talking about my bad. Carson Wentz.
to the
Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah,
So he's with the
in
Redskins,
Washington.
yeah.
Yeah, Redskins.
Yeah, the Redskins.
Commanders.
That's what I meant. Not Andrew Luck. So he went over there. Who's in Jacksonville?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, that's good. All right,
Nah, I
Trevor
think
Lawrence,
it's terrible.
okay. Miami Dolphins.
They got Tua and
Tyreek Hill.
You want to
We're
say-
talking about the quarterback, dog. We ain't talking
well,
about wide receivers.
Bridgewater.
Oh,
I thought he was
Deshaun
gonna say
Watson.
and.
Where did Deshaun Watson go? He went to
Cleveland.
the Browns. Yo, and he got Amari Cooper on top of that. Did he really get the biggest contract ever?
Yeah, he got all his whole contract guaranteed.
Wow.
It was like
wow.
270
That's
million.
Yeah,
crazy.
some shit like that. It's fucking nuts.
After you touch women, damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Deshaun Watson got paid.
I mean, did he touch women?
24 of them.
I thought they were touching him
Either way,
in between.
So,
booty
who's,
hole,
so
you know
who's
what
in
I'm
Houston? Who's in Houston?
who
Yeah, you don't know? You didn't hear about that?
that he like?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Who's
he
in
was.
Houston?
There was rumors where he liked it.
Yeah, like he like.
Well, who likes to get shitted on? Wasn't that fucking Odell Beckham?
Oh, yeah.
Or he likes to shit on them,
Yeah,
some shit
yeah.
like that.
Who's in Houston?
Fuck, who is in Houston?
Did Matt Ryan get traded?
Yeah, he's with the Colts.
Yeah, he's.
God
Yeah, Matt Ryan's
damn, I
with the
can't
Colts.
believe
No,
that.
it's Houston is that.
We're done with NBA, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to talk one more thing about. I want to talk about the Minnesota. Why it's so bad, and I feel so sorry for Minnesota being in this position, 10 games over 500, is because when Karl Anthony Towns came into the league, he was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
He was good that second year. They were dominant. They were always going for that number 1 seed. He got hurt or whatever happened and all this shit, and then now. I think they desperately need to be in the playoffs again. I think because they missed a couple of years actually.
Yeah.
So this is the first time they actually get to be back in the playoffs, and they're in a play-in tournament, 10 games over 500 against.
Hey, maybe
teams
they
that
should
are
have won a little bit more.
against. I mean, technically, if Denver loses twice and Minnesota wins twice, they can swap. I guess I don't know. I don't know the tiebreaker scenario, but who knows? But I just felt bad. I just feel bad for Minnesota and their fans and their city. And I think it'll be bad for the NBA. And I think you have to eliminate the play-in tournament if
They need to get
If the Min- yeah.
Why the fuck even? Why
Yeah.
even start that?
if the
Stupidest
Minnesota
And let's
Minnesota
reward the 10th seed by letting
Yeah.
them get into the playoffs. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No, I'm good.
The 10th and the 9th seed.
Yeah, like-
Hey, but I'm cool with it right now.
But yeah, see, I mean, like I said, it's okay if the teams are within a couple of games. That's, I mean, I
Why
guess
the
you can
fuck
do
did the
whatever you
Lakers
want to.
make the playoffs though? They had
Because they suck.
You know why? Because
Coaching.
they gave up their entire defense for offense.
David did say
So
that at
they
the beginning of the
got
season.
they got fucking
Thank
Anthony Davis.
you for acknowledging.
Anthony Davis got hurt throughout the season though, right?
Yeah, he was bad. But even when he was playing,
He wasn't doing
they
shit.
just didn't have no chemistry at all.
Russell Westbrook.
Trash. And
Brick.
it was crazy.
What's a
because-
West break?
Brick,
Yeah, and it
He
was
got his
crazy
feelings
because
hurt.
I actually seen
Where's
it.
he going? He's going to the Rockets next, is what they're saying, right?
Again?
Man, I don't know, man.
That's
Honestly,
interesting.
I mean, he might. I mean, but I don't know.
Does it
They were-
matter now?
No, I don't think it does.
He ain't gonna win.
They were saying that Magic was saying that they had a chance to get
DeRozan, I seen that today.
DeRozan and a whole bunch of other players.
Yep.
But
That's whenever before they talked to, or that's whenever they were talking to Westbrook.
Yeah, and then when LeBron talked to Westbrook, that was
Everything
that was a
changed.
sell. They automatically went to Westbrook.
LeBron's a worse GM than Jordan.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro.
Then who?
Then Jordan.
I thought you said then Jerry.
Nah, man.
That's
It's up there.
I have faith in the Cowboys, bro. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean that. So I think that sucks for Minnesota. But I mean,
Let's go Spurs. Go Spurs.
Is
Go.
LeBron in his career as a Laker?
No.
you know, there was talks earlier, or
going to Cleveland
mid-season, that he wants to go to Cleveland. His son, I think his son's coming into NBA next year.
No, the year after.
The year after. They were saying that he wants to play with Bronny.
Yeah, I seen that.
I mean, so if somehow, I mean, which the
Yeah,
way
it's cool, I
the way
get it.
Cleveland's going, I don't think they'll get Bronny. I mean,
yeah,
I think
why would they want him?
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
like he's a
they're
stud.
projecting. They're
Well, they'll
going
tank
up.
on purpose just to get the first round pick.
I don't think they'll do
No,
it for
they won't
Bronny.
take- they might
not
trade
for
up for-
Bronny. Not for Bronny.
That dude's not
Bronny's
that great.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not like that. Oh, one more thing I just heard. Lonzo Ball is out for the rest of the
Yeah,
year.
I saw that.
Yeah,
That I
didn't-
did see.
Yeah,
I don't keep up with basketball, but I did
Yeah.
see that. How's LaMelo doing? He's doing good stuff.
Dude,
He's
he's legit.
fucking good.
Yeah, he's legit.
That's crazy,
Everybody
right?
knew though. Everybody knew he was going to be better than Lonzo because
Well,
he
I think,
was.
I think he went overseas, but in the beginning,
Yeah.
if you remember in the real beginning, they were like he was the worst one of the batch.
Yeah. And then LiAngelo fell worse than that.
LiAngelo's-
That boy can't make it past the G League. That boy can't make it past the G League.
And he jacking.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we ain't talking about jacking for beats.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. All right,
But
fuck the NBA.
yeah, but as of right now, man, you got 11 and a half minutes left. You got
He came from the Spurs.
the Mavericks. You got the Mavericks 102, Pistons 88.
So I have one last question. Who's the quarterback for the Steelers?
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but people were praising this guy.
Yeah, I
like he's
know.
gonna be the next.
he's gonna
best
be the
thing.
next
Yeah,
guy.
I'm
Definitely
like,
not.
dude, really?
Who does he have to throw to besides Johnson?
I mean, they still got Claypool, which
Oh, yeah.
you want to put.
So
Claypool.
Dak's
Oh, that's true.
Dak's a top 10 quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
For
But
sure.
It
Dak-
has been.
I mean,
Don't say that to David. David's a Dak hater.
Yeah.
You don't like Dak?
David thinks he's the
you know why?
he's the
Because
bottom.
he's 7 years in, going to be 6 years completed, 7
Yeah.
year going into a 7th year. He's going into a 7th year, and can you honestly say what type of quarterback Dak is?
Ah, man, I think
He
he's-
broke
I think
records.
he's a great
Nah,
quarterback.
he's a statistical monster if you want to say that. That's fine. That doesn't win you championships.
I think he's a
It
great
doesn't.
quarterback. I mean, I think Tony Romo
doesn't.
right?
Exactly. That's
I
a
think
perfect
he's a great- I
example.
think he's a great quarterback.
I mean, he's a good quarterback.
I think I like him a lot.
I'm not gonna say he's a great quarterback.
I like
He
him.
he still can't throw. And then I mean,
You know, this season in specific was really, really telling for me, for him as a quarterback, because not only did he come back from an injury, the amount of pressure that comes with being the quarterback to the Dallas Cowboys, and his brother committed suicide in the offseason.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I forgot about that.
And his brother committed suicide in the offseason, and as he committed suicide, I think there was talks that they like drafted, or they were training for. I think they had signed a quarterback around that time period. Like there was talks about the contract because it was still kind of in limbo.
yeah,
During
they had.
during the time that his brother committed suicide, I thought it was just like, man, this guy. I don't think that's spoken enough about, and so that let me know a lot about him. Like he came out and he balled out.
So that means he's gonna have a better season this season. Is what you're
hopefully. I mean, I don't know what the fuck's going on with some of their moves, but I think they'll do good.
saying? They ain't doing shit right now.
I'm gonna tell you. There's one thing that I had to chunk it up for him, and that's the fact that he pretty much had no offseason.
Yeah,
He came right in from rehab from his injury and went straight into training camp, and then
pretty much missed training camp because he had a shoulder shit.
Well, yeah, that shoulder shit too. So I think mid season fatigue hit him.
they peaked early.
Yeah, but my thing is
We about to go.
that
out.
doesn't stop.
I already got my mindset.
That doesn't stop.
Say what?
We
your
about to
dec-
go out. I already got my mindset.
That doesn't stop your decision making. And I think that's where I'm afraid. Because before, when he could thread the needle in between and make some tight passes, he wasn't doing that. And he was delaying his throws, and it just, like I said, man, nobody's going to come in and just completely block everything and give Dak all kinds of time.
Yeah.
If you give Dak some time, he should be able to make that throw. he wasn't making them throws. You know, people want to talk about how, you know, if Zeke can stop a guy for a second, that should be enough. You know, You know, you got 3 straight drop, block, that's 4 seconds right there. Boom, that ball should be out. And he's not. He's holding on to the ball. And then apparently, I heard somebody was saying some
Maybe he just don't like what he sees.
But that was an analytic guy.
When he got hurt midseason, remember? I don't think he ever really recovered from that.
I don't think he did either. I think he was struggling with that shoulder.
Yeah,
like
sure.
100%. Yeah.
Who was it that he got? I forgot. I remember that.
Was it Minnesota? No,
No,
that was
the
the game
Patriots. He got hurt at the end of the Patriots game.
And then they had the bye week, and
when he
then
threw that
Minnesota.
Cooper Rush played.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, okay. But they were saying that Amari Cooper had at least 2.5 yard separation on almost every.
I believe it.
Now,
I think Dak lost his confidence. I think that's what it was. Like it could go to the injury. He could have just lost like his confidence in his body. Like, oh, I can't make that throw, or I don't trust myself to make that throw.
I get that. But then why can't you just say that? And
yeah, I mean,
they can try to adjust. Now that does fall on
coaching.
Well.
Like they need to see, or I don't know. Maybe Dak's in the when they're watching film or when they're practicing. Maybe Dak's like, no, I'm good. I'll fix it. But if the coaching is seeing that he's not able to make these plays or he's not making these plays, they need to scheme around that. They need to figure something else out.
I mean, look what they're doing in Miami with Tua. They got 2 of the best speeders in the game and the best, slant guys that play. I mean, they fit Tua's.
They're gonna try to get rid of the ball quick with Tua.
Yes, and that's, I think Miami could be a problem if everything goes and they scheme correctly and they build around that. Yeah. They're going to be in. They're going to be something.
Yeah, if their defense can hold up, Miami might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think even just offensively, I think they could be a problem. Now, as far as like defensively, I mean, who knows? But definitely offensively, they could be a problem, especially in the AFC East, which there's only one team over there that can be a problem. Everybody's saying that New England's going in the opposite direction, but I don't know. They have I think they have a solid quarterback. But who knows?
Where's Jimmy G at?
San Francisco.
It's technically right. They didn't sign him, right?
I thought he was leaving though, right?
Apparently, I mean,
there's rumors.
Yeah, Jimmy G.
There's rumors that I don't know.
I mean, who knows? Like honestly, who knows? It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be tough.
Patriots just signed.
He's going to Seattle.
Devontae Parker, I think, right?
Yeah, Patriots did.
Yeah. Devontae Parker. I don't think the Patriots are going in the wrong direction.
I mean, they lost Chandler Jones.
No, Chandler Jones is.
I mean, what's that? They lost somebody on the defense. Yeah, there's a couple of guys on the defense actually. So,
and I think Jabril Peppers went over there.
Where the fuck is Baker Mayfield?
He's still in
Cleveland.
Cleveland's disrespecting the hell out of him.
I feel bad for him.
You feel bad for Baker Mayfield? He's lying ass.
I feel bad for Baker Mayfield. Sooner Boomerang.
So other than that, I mean, Stephon Diggs, the Bills extended Stephon Diggs. I know there was some rumors, and Trayvon Diggs, his brother, was trying to recruit him to Dallas, which would have been dope. But the Bills extended him 4 years, $104 million with 70 guaranteed.
Well deserving.
Stephon Diggs is a fantasy beast.
He said he's going to finish his career there.
Yeah, he should. He's
fuck here. They're going to go to the Super Bowl and lose again.
Come on, man.
Other than that, there's really not a lot going on in the NFL. I know Tyrann Mathieu, he's looking for a new team. He's trying to go home to New Orleans, so I think he's visiting the Saints. There's some rumors out there that the Cowboys are linked to him, but they're not going to sign him. Bobby Wagner went to the Rams. I don't know the contract details of Bobby Wagner, but he's a Ram. And then really the, I guess, latest biggest trade was between the Eagles and the Saints. The Eagles traded 2 first-round draft picks to the Saints. The Eagles and the Saints swapped the draft pick in the first round this year. And then the Eagles gave them another first-round pick this year. And the Saints gave them a first-round pick for next year.
So they were just swapping the picks?
They were swapping the picks. The Eagles had 3 first-round picks this year. They traded away one to the Saints for one next year, first round pick. So the Eagles technically have 2 first round picks this year and 2 first round picks next year. And then they also got a second round for next year as well. But that was really the only big trade that's been recent in football. Other than that, man, there's still a lot of free agents out there that I would love to see the Cowboys pursue, but
I don't think they will. I think they're 100% focused on the draft.
They're going to build with
they got a lot of picks this year, and I think they might not trade up. They might just go ahead and sit where they're
going to trade out. I'm telling you right now.
They might. I mean,
fuck the first round. We don't like first round pick. We're going to fucking trade out.
They have a lot of holes, and they're going to use all them picks to fill them holes, and they're going to be mediocre again.
Yeah.
But go Cowboys.
Yay.
Yeah. But MLB's actually the opening day starts tomorrow.
Hey.
So you got the first game on to open up the MLB season after the long tiring lockout.
Yeah.
You have the Milwaukee Brewers at the Chicago Cubs at 1:20 Central Time. That's first pitch. So it's going to be 2:20 Eastern, which is where it's going to be at in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Milwaukee's going. Corbin Burns is on the mound against Kyle Hendricks for Chicago Cubs. Of course, the Milwaukee Brewers are favorite to win that series, and Milwaukee Brewers are actually favored to be, challenging for the National League title.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense. They got a good pitching staff.
Yeah, they're solid. They're solid, man. So. Again, it's still early, but I just wanted to throw out the first game of the year. I wanted to kind of go over baseball as well, just a whole bunch of the stuff that happened in the offseason, but there was just so much to happen in a short amount of period of time, and it kind of interfered with the whole playoff talks for these two leagues. But just one question out there. Of course, we'll continue to cover baseball. It's a long season, but I got one question for anybody who wants to answer. Is Alex Rodriguez a Hall of Famer?
No. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I would say it's tainted.
Yeah, definitely tainted.
If Bonds ain't, then he ain't.
Yeah.
I mean, Bonds and Clemens ain't. I mean, you got the best. Okay, hold on. I think we've talked about this before. You got the home run king.
Yeah.
You got the
all-time leader, the season and the all-time.
Yes. You got the home run king.
Yep.
You got the pitching king.
Yep.
You got the hits king. All 3 of them are not in the Hall of Fame.
Hits king.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Oh, yeah.
All 3 of them are not in the Hall of Fame.
See, the Pete Rose thing is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
It's bullshit.
They should be in. He should definitely be in. I mean, he wanted to make some money on the side, but I mean,
yeah, but like he never dictated
betted on his own team.
Yeah, he never. Like Pete Rose was Mr. Hustle. Like that was his nickname, was Mr.
Charlie Hustle.
Yeah. So,
hey, what's wrong with a little bit of hustling?
Exactly.
They see. I mean,
that's dumb. But
I what it is, it's the old school mentality that's voting.
So he
for
pulled
this shit.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he was Calvin Ridley before Calvin Ridley.
yeah, he's the original.
And then they were saying something about like Calvin Ridley was like, that he said again, like he wanted to bet again. Like he was saying something like, "Man, I bet." He goes, "Something's gonna lose."
Y'all come back or something.
Yeah, it's like, "I bet you." It's like, bro, stop betting shit. Like you already missing the whole league, the whole season because of that shit. Just bro, stop, bro. But yeah, my thing was because Alex Rodriguez saying that he feels like he is gonna go into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if he does, they have to go back and they have to put Bonds. They got to put Clemens. They got to put all those guys in there.
I mean,
it don't work like that though.
Just like Bonds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I don't know about Bonds. I think Bonds is like on the cusp. But Alex Rodriguez before Texas, I think was going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was on his way to go to the Hall of Fame. Of course, Texas is where it all happened. Apparently,
Texas is the home of the players and pimp.
I mean,
that's true.
Wango did it. All those '90s Rangers did it.
Slow your roll, dog. Slow your roll. It's not proven.
Rafael Palmeiro did.
Yeah. All those guys did it.
I mean, it all started with Canseco. He's the one that did it. He's the one that put him on game.
I think a lot of those guys were that whole era.
They were Mark McGuire, Sammy.
NFL too. I mean, NFL too. I mean, that's why all them NFL guys were all fucking on pills and shit.
Hey.
He said that was like, they called it, I forgot what it was called, but it was a big old
Candy
bowl.
bowl.
Yeah, it was a candy bowl full of fucking amphetamines
I'd have been
and
taking that
pills.
shit and just
That's what they
selling
were.
it.
They were just going in the locker room, just.
No, I said selling it.
Oh.
Not taking it. Hell nah.
But I mean, I think they said the best way to kind of eliminate all this is go ahead and just put them in a separate category, but put them in the hall. Put them in an asterisk category or whatever you want.
I mean,
these guys deserve it.
Cheaters Hall of
they
Fame.
Because yeah, the Cheetahs Hall of Fame.
I mean, because the thing is, like,
Fuck it. At least you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
with baseball, like, okay, yes, I took steroids, but like Barry Bonds still had to hit the ball.
Yep.
Still had to hit the ball. Clemens still had to hit the strike zone. You know, like, yeah, it might have gone a little further, but
Yeah.
I mean, he still's got to hit it.
Yep.
So
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know if it.
Yeah, you still have to
keeps you
time it
focused.
right.
Yeah.
It's not like steroids are going to make you, like you said, focus. Like,
Yeah. Like, oh, it's slowed down. I can
Yeah,
see it
for real.
better.
it probably did.
It probably did. I don't know. I've never done it, so I don't know.
neither am I.
I don't know, bro. But
I haven't
it's like, but yeah. I mean, like I said, that was my last question on the sports thing.
That's
man.
it. But y'all gonna go watch the Ranger game this year?
You're going to watch a Ranger game?
Go
Go
to one?
see one.
Yeah.
I went to the new stadium for Triller Fight Club whenever they had that stuff with Metallica out there. Man, that the stadium's on fucking chain.
Yeah, that shit.
It's dope. It's dope. You know, I think MLB did like they ranked the stadiums, all the stadiums.
That had to be number one.
Nah,
No.
it's like 15 or 16. Like it's
Yeah, no way.
it's like right above Houston's.
the new one.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy.
don't
Like
know, man. That stadium.
They said they don't like the design, but everything inside is great. They
yeah.
just don't
People
like the
people
design.
say that, like, people who haven't been to Texas, they say that they think the old stadium is the new stadium. That's what they say. Because it looks
Nah, that's
more
where
like
they hold concerts at now.
it looks more like a
Traditional baseball.
yeah.
I feel like
I mean, the new stadium from the outside looks like a warehouse.
It does. That's what they were saying. Too.
Yeah, it looks like a warehouse from the outside, but
Oh, it's dope, though.
it is dope.
I think
I
that,
love
that
that
stadium
shit.
was fantastic.
I feel like
Like I said, nobody really realizes it when you're in 100-degree heat and you walk in, it's 7 degrees and you're watching baseball.
Real.
We've never had that.
Whenever me and Ashley went to a game last season, like it was somewhat hot outside, and then we went in there. I was like, "Damn, it fucking feels great." in here.
Yeah, bro.
I was cold. I went there one time. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, it's cold.
I need a jacket in this bitch.
it feels like I feel like a football stadium vibe when I got in there.
Yeah.
for sure.
It's hard,
For
bro.
sure.
I like it a lot.
It's dope though.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how they have pluckers inside, things like
Oh.
that. That shit's so dope.
They have
Speaking of-
pluggers in
They
there.
got pluggers
Yeah.
there, bro.
Speaking of foods, bro, they got all this new crazy
Oh,
food.
dude,
They
that
got
shit is nuts.
chicken fried brisket sandwich.
They got chicken egg rolls.
Damn, I can't
Brisket,
eat none of
brisket,
that.
Yeah, brisket,
brisket,
yeah,
egg,
brisket
rolls.
egg rolls.
They got alligator corn dogs.
Yes, dude. They have like
I can't eat
It's like the
none of that.
andouille.
Nah, I'm going to.
It's like the andouille corn or corn dogs. That shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But they said they actually invited 3 more vendors to come out between a certain amount of time to vend in a section. Like they'll bring their own food to vend in
Just
like
like
a section.
random.
Yeah, just like kind of like food trucks kind of.
Oh yeah.
That'll be
But
dope.
inside
That'd
the
be
stadium, that I was
Take
like,
some
dude, that shit
fucking
is actually
tacos up in that
badass.
bitch,
Fuck
boy.
yeah,
That shit is dope. I was like, man, that shit's actually badass. So
Nigga be
Rangers are
millions.
making moves. They're doing some shit over there, bro.
Take notes, Jerry.
For real.
They're doing something
Chill out
over
on
there
them
in Texas.
prices,
bro.
Jerry.
Fucking dry ass hamburger and shit from fucking
No,
Cowboys.
yeah, just no pickles, nothing, just straight fucking
Bread,
bread.
nigga.
Yeah,
Bread's all bitten and shit.
it's all half of it's hard and shit.
Let's continue.
But hip hop matchup.
Oh, before we do the hip hop matchup,
I'm ready for this.
let's talk about what you have coming up.
Oh,
yeah. Real quick. So I got a festival coming up on August 6th. It's the second annual. I'm doing Central Popular. As people, like I've pretty much said this, that I named the event after my mom's record shop. I grew up in my mom's record shop from the time that I was born up to the time that I was about 11 or 12.
Yeah, you actually said this last year.
Yeah. So the name of the shop is the name of the event. And so, I thought it was cool to pay homage to her. This year, I felt like it was important to kind of establish more of an actual festival brand. I mean, we still got a ways to go. It's the second annual, so, we
One
had,
hell of a second annual.
bro, we were actually going to go, I had bet with Dickies Arena, and I was I was trying to do Snoop Dogg there and a few other artists. It just didn't work out. It was as cool as the idea was, it just wasn't something financially feasible for me. And so I was really kind of debating whether or not I wanted to do another event. And I made the decision. I was like, you know what? I think it's time to just make it happen. So I pulled the trigger, and I said, I want to put together an event that steers away from the Latin stuff. And, you know, I'm still going to have some Latin influence on there because obviously I'm Mexican. So, but...
No, for real?
But I wanted to have, you know, I wanted to create something that was going to be, I didn't see this coming. So that's what led me to book 3-6 Mafia as the headliner. And then obviously I eventually got Chamillionaire as well. And I was debating whether or not to put Bone Thugs in Harmony. I was really going to go all in, but I was like, you know what, man, I think I'm good with 3-6 Mafia and Chamillionaire because these guys, for one, you know, 3-6 Mafia has never played Fort Worth, but the last time they played together as a group in Dallas Fort Worth was in 2014. And then obviously Chamillionaire doesn't do shows anymore, so I was very excited to be able to put this bill together. And, you know, it's coming down, you know, it's going down August 6th. And the most validating part of this for me is the fact that, you know, this is completely self-financed and self-funded this year. Like last year it was, but I had assistance from the people that were helping me put the event together. I've been putting the venue together, my bad. And this year it's 100% me. They're still involved, you know, because they own the space, but, you know, this was a lot more important to me. And that's also the second annual. So the first one, it's like, you know, you're only as good as the follow-up. So I'm excited, you know, just encourage everybody that listens or that's watching to, like, buy tickets.
Oh, shit, man.
Because this is the one, like, you know, I always say, like it's hard being a promoter because every event is like, this is the biggest event I've ever done. And then 2 months later, no, this is the biggest event I've ever done. Oh, no, 3 months later.
But for now, this one definitely.
No, this is definitely what I consider the biggest one I've done. And even if it, quote unquote, status-wise isn't, it is to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, we always talk about supporting independent businesses, always talk about supporting brown businesses, black businesses. This is, to me, the perfect opportunity to do just that. And if you want to show support to an independent business, buy a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, there's always people that are like, hey, what's up? Can I get 5 free tickets? I'm like, look, I'm cool usually about doing that. But this is the one, like, yo, man, remember that time I gave you, like, 5 free tickets the last however many times? Like, buy a ticket to this one, please. You know what I mean? Like, I want this one to do good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the goal, man. Hopefully. But August 6th, Fort Worth, Water Acre Live, Central Popular, 3-6 Mafia coming in there.
Yeah.
And where can they get those tickets?
CentralPopular.com, CENTRO Popular.com. So
Yeah, man. I can't wait.
I'm
I
excited.
got my tickets.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm excited about seeing 3-6 Mafia.
I am
Same.
too.
Hey, but if you need us to do a podcast, let us know.
But
Okay, nigga.
but
Y'all ain't.
it's crazy because 3-6 Mafia shows so much love to Fort Worth over the years, and I can't believe that they've never done a show.
3-6 Mafia showed love to a lot of artists in cities. Like they showed, DJ Paul actually said that SPM was like one of the most underrated rappers.
Yeah, he is.
Of,
Yeah,
like
he's
years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like it's crazy how in tune he is. I would say just him, just because he said it.
Yeah.
It's crazy how in tune he is with Texas, but obviously it's because Texas is.
I mean, he's on record saying that him and Pimp C were about to do a group together.
Oh yeah.
With UGK and 3-6 Mafia. I thought that would have been cool as hell. I thought
It would have been UGK and 3-6. Right?
Yeah, it would have been UGK and 3-6 Mafia. That was around the time when they did International Players Anthem.
Although the International Players Anthem with 3-6 is trash. But,
I mean, he actually said. I mean, there's the song. The original song was all 3 of them, and he actually said it himself. He's like, "I'm glad we didn't make the cut because that song bangs either way."
It's crazy that they produced that beat though, because that's something that you would never hear 3-6 make.
Yeah, and it was crazy. And it was crazy because it was an interview that DJ Paul was doing. That beat was.
It was supposed to be.
It was on Project Pat's album.
Yeah.
And
Pimp C told him,
like,
caught him from prison,
bro,
and he was like,
that
"Don't
shit?
change the beat up."
He's like, I had to change it a little bit. I don't think he noticed it, but I changed it a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And that song came out. It was actually pretty fucking
Well,
dope.
yeah, I mean, I'm just excited, you know, coming off of Versus, 3-6 Mafia's profile.
Yeah.
Who won that one though?
I mean, I'm a Bone fan, so I'm gonna be completely biased, right? But there's two parts of that battle.
There
right?
is 2 parts.
To me, the part is of like just showmanship, who looked like the stars. I gotta say, 3-6 Mafia looked like the stars. They didn't look bummy. You know, not to say Bone did, but You got big ass mink coat. They look like stars. You know what I mean? They presented themselves as stars, and that would create the perception that they're the bigger stars, and that they had big people come out on their set.
Yeah.
Whereas with Bone, like I don't feel like Bone was they didn't rely as much on that. You know, they only had like head to head, they only had maybe 3 or 4 guest spots, right?
Yeah.
So I felt just if we're talking Bone versus 3-6, not Bone versus 3-6 and their features, Bone actually had the upper hand, and that's in that regard. But when you talk about the overall presentation, I would say 3-6 Mafia. They looked a little bit more in sync as a group.
Yeah, I said very similar things. Definitely pros and cons on both sides. I think maybe DJ Paul didn't want to put his brother on that shit, but I think they did a disservice to.
They
Lord
should
Infamous.
have though.
They did a disservice to Lord Infamous. I think they should have played some of his parts on some of his songs.
Well, on the Who Run It, like they were just they were saying something like during his verse. It's like, come on, y'all could have at least rapped it the way Bone did Biggie and Pac. It's like, come on now.
Or they even when they had Little Eazy-E, which I thought was a good spot in
Yeah.
shit. But I mean, either way, like I feel like Bone looked. After the Busy incident, Bone looked kind of depleted and defeated. Yeah, even though they still performed, like they didn't look.
They still had hitters though.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean
they did, but you know, like
they didn't play first of the month, which was crazy.
I guess it was kind of like, you know, whenever you watch a boxing match and you look at body language, 3-6 Mafia just had the more of the body language. They looked like they won.
But they didn't win. Bone won.
They're all smiling and Bone was kind of like.
What I didn't like about 3-6 is their set was how it almost seemed like Juicy J kind of took it his own way and started doing his own songs that weren't with DJ Paul or nobody else. It was just his shit off his solo albums. And I was like, come on, bro. Like, you know, bands make you dance, maybe. That was it. I mean, but other than that, like, I don't think that you should have put any of these other ones. Y'all have enough songs.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't have put that other dude on there.
The one that was on, I don't know his fucking name, but.
I don't remember it. But I see him like on fucking TikTok doing like a dance on a treadmill and shit like that.
But he shouldn't have did that.
Or a workout or something bullshit.
They have enough bangers without that. Like, they could have played a lot more other songs. But, I mean, that was one hell of a fucking versus. I wish that the whole Busy Bone shit debacle happened. I wish it didn't happen. I think it would have been fucking awesome. But it would have been something that would have been phenomenal live. Just seeing all these guys come out, I thought it was going to be fucking dope. I thought that would have been fucking amazing and awesome.
That shit work, though?
It might be, yeah. All
right, but to the hip hop match.
Yeah, this is
let's just ask Vega real quick.
Okay.
Get Rich or Die Tryin' or the documentary? Better album.
I mean, I think it's pretty easy for me to answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, just in full transparency, you don't get to the documentary without Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Does that make sense?
Okay,
like,
but you can't put it like that. So we.
Well, I mean,
because that's true.
No, that's true. But so I feel like that was the gateway, and then also like hearing the stories of like 50, because you know, like there's a few records on the documentary that were supposed to be on the massacre.
Only two,
which were the 2 big records, which was "Hate It or Love It" and "This Is How We Do." Right.
Yeah.
So like, so he gave Game those singles. So I kind of feel like just off of that. But if you're just talking head to head, regardless, I'm still gonna go with Get Rich or Die Tryin'. I still think that just what it did at that moment in time, how 50 kind of just took the game by storm. You know, like I know Game's one of your favorite rappers, and like for me, he's someone that I've had the opportunity to like actually book, and I don't really have nothing negative to say about the Game as an artist. I never felt he was as big as 50. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter about popularity, because if we're just talking about quality of music, quality of album, the documentary is a really good album.
It really is.
It's a really, really good album.
Classic.
And the Game has put together some really good albums. Even up to a certain extent, I wouldn't even go as far as say, like, in terms of just albums, head to head, he's had a better overall output in regards to albums than 50. But Get Rich or Die Tryin' is one of those albums that's just, like, really kind of untouchable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Really
okay, well, if they were to do a versus, who do you think would take it?
I still think 50 Cent will take it. Oh, my God. You know what I mean? I still think 50 Cent will take it. 50 Cent just had bigger records, man. And he had a bigger footprint in the music industry in general, like. But I would have to look at the list, you know, because just off of Get Rich or Die Tryin', you have a solid.
I mean, it also comes with the set list too. I mean, whatever you're gonna perform that night on.
Because the Game has some great records.
Yeah.
But you know, like if you go head to head with 50 in the game, who performs Hate It or Love It? You know, who performs, you know.
I think those songs are pretty much left out, and then they do like Jeezy and Gucci did.
Yeah, if you leave those records out, then, you know, maybe you have a little bit more of a. I don't even know that you have an even playing field because those are the game's biggest records. You know, some of the game's biggest records, commercial wise. You know.
Yep. So what do you think, Cody?
I'm gonna go drop these. Hold up, just talking about other shit.
I got it, bro.
So I'm glad we did this, man, because I actually like the matchup.
I think
the
it's a great
matchup between the two albums, because you both got M features, right? You both got close to the same number of songs.
Nate Dogg features.
I mean, this was like a heavyweight match. This was like a dope ass.
It was
matchup. All right. Now, the one thing I'll say about the documentary, and I've told you that the documentary is like so top heavy with hits, right? So like it's 1 through 6 or 1 through 7. It's just banger after banger after banger after banger, and just like Vega said, 50's in those bangers.
Yeah.
So it's almost like how can you say you're better than me when I'm on your shit? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Easy.
So the documentary is so top heavy, right? And then when you look at Get Rich or Die Trying, it's like
What do you mean by
balanced.
top heavy?
Like 1 through 7. It's just banger. And of course you got the documentary toward the end, but it's like hit. Get Rich or Die Trying. It's all through. It's like scattered. That's a nice balanced album.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm leaning toward Get Rich or Die Trying. And I did not think I was going to lean that way when we first made this matchup. I thought, oh, Game's going to take it. Documentary's dope as fuck. But then I found myself listening to Get Rich or Die Trying more and more and more.
I'll put it to like this. I still listen to Get Rich or Die Trying. I don't listen to the documentary as much. There's a lot of songs I like on the documentary.
Yeah.
Like the song Dreams with Kanye that Kanye produced. That's one of my favorite songs in the game. And I guess if you're looking at it from the skill set standpoint, the Game is a better rapper MC than 50 Cent.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think 50 wrote any of Game songs?
Yeah, the Hate It or Love It. Like, I mean, he didn't write his lyrics. He didn't write the lyrics. Like, he didn't write his rap lyrics, but
He wrote the hook and the...
he came up with the hook and the melody. And, I mean, I know there was some rumors that the Game wrote the What Up Gangsta hook, but, I mean, really, that's not, like, I don't think that's, like, mind-blowing. Like, what up, dog? What up, cuz? What up, man? What up, gang? Like, we could have wrote that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
That's facts. That's facts.
like, you know, it might have been a suggested line. So I mean, but if that's the case, if he wrote "What Up Gangsta," then there's your trade off for "Hate It or Love It." You know what I'm saying? Which I thought "Hate It or Love It" was the bigger record. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But anyways,
Go ahead.
This was tough. Very similar to what Cody was saying. When you got some of your biggest hits feature, this was a bad matchup for the documentary. Not saying anything that's bad about documentary, but documentary is fucking dope. I think the best song on either albums, in my opinion, is on the documentary.
What song?
And Start From Scratch. I think that's, like you say, I think that could go head to head. To me, my personal opinion, I think that's the best song out of both albums. Yeah. Now, might not be more commercial, well, obviously whatever, but that song bangs and it hits. But 50 being on some of these songs that kind of carry that album. Not saying all of them, but he's on the two of the biggest ones on the album.
I mean, if you look at sales, then yes. Yes. But if you look off like other shit, like then no.
Yeah, and also another one is I like how he experimented with producers.
Who?
Game, because he has a whole bunch on there. I think Swiss Beat song that was it the church or some shit. Yeah.
I don't think that's Swiss Beats. I think that's
Church for Thugs or something like that.
I think that's
Swiss Beats.
I think that's Just Blaze.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, not Swiss Beats. Yeah, Just Blaze. I think that's a terrible mix. A mix of game style and that beat.
The game.
I think it's
Church for the Thugs.
Yes, bro. I think it's. I mean, the song is good, but the beat on top of his lyrics sucks. Like, I think it absolutely sucks. He did better with the Timbaland beat.
Yeah, obviously.
You know what I'm saying?
But
He did better with the Kanye beat. He came. I don't think he sound good on that type of beat.
no, he sounded good on that. No More Fun and Game. I like Church for the Thugs. Niggas keep saying they gonna heat me up.
It's good. Like what he says is good. The song is not that good.
I don't know, bro.
Like all together. Now I'm gonna tell you though. I'm gonna tell you though. I'm a huge Chamillionaire fan. Put You On Game. Every time I hear that beat, that's a Chamillionaire song.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
bro.
it's not.
I'm the truest to do it.
No,
I'm
it's
the
not.
truest. I'm the
No,
truest. I'm the
it's
truest
not.
to do it. Yes, bro.
No.
Every time I
Not
hear
even
that song.
close.
Hell no. That's like
Not
a Kanye
it's because
gift.
you're a big big Chamillionaire fan.
Absolutely. That's why you say the J. Cole shit and the Kendrick because you're a big
No,
Kendrick
it's
fan.
because
That's why you
Kendrick,
say that.
No. Because there's
Tell of Two Cities is fucking fire.
Tell of Two Cities is great. It's a classic,
better
but
than Black Sunday.
Kendrick,
Or Black Friday.
Kendrick absolutely murdered that shit and took it over. That's
No, he
Kendrick's song.
didn't. No.
That's
No,
Kendrick's
he
song.
didn't. Bro,
Oh man!
come on, bro.
I.
Every time I hear that beat, it's 100% Chamillionaire.
It's definitely not
So you think
Chamillionaire.
the
It's one.
documentary is better? Is what you're getting to?
It's
No.
a tie.
Last
It's a tie.
week- last week-
I said Get Rich or Die Trying,
Yeah.
but this week I've like listened to both of them back and back. It's literally a tie for me.
50's on 3 of the documentary songs, by the way. He's also on West Side Story.
Yeah, he is on West Side Story.
No, he's not.
He's on the hook.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. I'll put $500 on it right now. We can wipe that debt clean. And I'm not drunk, so I know that for a fact.
I think it says he's on it.
Oh, it does say he's on.
He's on that bitch.
Oh,
He's on the
he
hook.
is. Damn, never mind. I take it back.
You gotta got that.
I'm about to be the whole 1,000.
I thought it was. Oh, that is right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
part is
not, I mean,
it?
not that it matters because if we're just talking album to album, it doesn't really matter who's on what.
But I do call it a tie because the way I started looking at it was song by song, pretty much. That's the way I started looking at it,
Yeah.
just because number 3 on Get Rich or Die Trying and number 3 on the documentary is Patiently Waiting versus Dreams. Although Eminem, that's
tough.
to me, that's like one of Eminem's greatest verses of all time.
Yeah, what you
Killed
should have
that
went
shit,
with,
dude.
how you should have broke it down is the similarity, the similar features. Which songs are better?
Well, even then, I would go
Nah.
like
Why not?
solo records head to head. If you go solo records head to head, you got like Dreams, and then you have In the Club. You have
Well, in the club, obviously.
you have
fucking,
Wanksta, and then you have Put Me on Game, right? Because Put Me on Game, he had Timbaland on the hook. I'm talking about just songs that were just them,
oh, yeah.
with nobody on it. I think that's how you would probably measure that a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? I think head to head, 50 probably had the stronger
Yeah.
solo songs. Nate Dogg was on 21 Questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was on PIP? On the album version.
Just 50.
Just 50 on the
Yeah.
album version, right? 'Cause he did a remix. That was a strong song. That was a
The
really strong-
remix was better, I think.
It was okay. So,
But the way I
That's
look
Snoop.
at it,
Snoop was on that one, right?
Yeah. the way I started doing it was just strictly off of track by track. I couldn't agree on track number 3. I gave that a tie. Number 2, I gave that to Game, West Side Story over What Up Gangsta. Easy.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Very easy.
I agree.
Number 4 was Many Men versus Hater to Love It. That's definitely a tie.
Hell no, bro.
What?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Mini Man by far better. By far. It's slim, but it's better. That is a
I mean, if
better
it's
song.
slim, it's like super.
It's
super,
but it's Mini Man for sure, bro.
Super.
Bro, do you understand how when that's? I mean, Hater love it too, but Mini Man. Many.
But I mean,
Where's that
but come on, son.
I'm telling
Hater
you, bro,
to Love
you
It,
can't do
the
that.
dogs on top.
I think the room's gonna be divided on that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what do you got?
On that matchup, I think it's
It's a tie, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's definitely a tie,
yeah,
dog.
that's so hard.
that one's really tough because I like both of the songs more.
Exactly.
But if I'm going based on what song I'm more likely to stream right now, that I would want to listen to, it'd probably be Many Men.
Yeah.
See, not me though. I would play both of them back to back.
Well, you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm tied too because both those songs are dope as fuck.
They are dope.
And see, in the club versus Higher, I would pick Higher just because in the club's like over fucking played
It is.
super much.
Higher is dope. I like Higher.
Number 6 was what?
How We Do versus I don't know what the Get Rich or Die Trying. How We Do versus
I'll go ahead and give it to. I'll go ahead and give
High
it
All
to.
the Time.
Yeah, I'll give it to How We Do
Yeah, me too. And then you got Heat.
versus Don't Need No Love, right?
Yeah,
With Faith
that's
Hill?
with Faith, yeah, yep.
Or Faith
Heat.
Evans.
Heat, boy, that hook on Heat is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Then you got If I Can't versus. What? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was listening to Heat on Saturday when I was a little faded on the way home. I was like, Jesus Christ, this hook's dope as fuck. What are you looking at? Get Rich or Die Trying?
Yeah. So If I Can't versus.
It's a tie for me. It's a tie. Because towards the end of Get Rich or Die Trying, it's a lot of skips. But see, for you, like you said, you could, whatever.
Yeah.
But for Game, for me, is like, it's a straight play 3.
That's biased.
No, it's not.
It is because you fuck with that's why that's like with me saying when I hear that beat, dog.
That's
it's
definitely not
Commanders.
Commanders.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is Commanders.
What, to put you on game?
It's not.
Every
We'll
time
let
I-
Cody
That one,
decide.
that one goes up against what's oh no, I'm sorry.
Well, I just started doing it like that. I didn't say for everybody else. I just started doing it like that just because I was listening like, damn, this song's better than this one. This one's better than that one.
Yeah. I mean,
But then like the ties, I was like track 3 and 3 and 4 and 4, like those were ties for me. But number 10 ain't nothing taken out for start from scratch.
Well, that's
Nothing.
I think that's just dope.
And then number 14 or number 13 from the Game, where I'm from, I'm a BLOOD. Been on songs with S and double OP. Yeah, come on, son.
I mean, again, this
It's a tie.
it's not a tie.
It's a tie for me.
It's not
For
See,
me.
Okay. Oh man.
It's a tie for me.
Like I said, it's tough, bro. It's tough because
That's definitely
just like last week, bro. Just like last. I mean, not last week's. I mean, definitely last week's as well. But the one before that too, when we had Doggy Style versus
Ready to Die.
Ready to Die.
Ready to Die.
Yeah.
That was tough because Doggy Style hits, bro. That shit hits,
It was
and
alright.
that shit changed, bro. That shit still bumps. That's by far his best album ever. Like he can go and do a
Well, yeah,
he can
'cause
do a
he
doggy
never-
style. He can do a doggy style tour and still sell fucking out stadiums.
Well, duh.
I mean, who does that? Who can do that, bro?
Bone.
And just do it off their first album?
Yeah. Or off their second album.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's his first album, bro.
Well, the Game could probably do it. Maybe. But you know what? I want to, now that we're speaking about the Game, I want to say something about the Game. The Game's like literally, he's getting on my nerves right now because he's fucking saying that he's coming out with the diss song towards Eminem. It's like,
Black Slim
Why
Shady.
though? Why?
Black
because
Slim Shady.
he's got an album coming out.
Oh.
But it's like, dog, come on now. Like, you can't fuck with Eminem.
I mean,
You're
so
one of my,
you
you're
think
one of
it's
my
all
favorite
clout, though?
rappers. I mean, who knows? Like, what if you're saying, "Oh yeah, I got a diss track coming towards Eminem," and then he drops a song Friday, and it's a song with him and Eminem? That'll be dope.
That would be dope.
And it's called Black Slim Shady because he's black and Eminem is Slim Shady. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that the whole time. For real. That'll be dope. But I mean, if it isn't, like, come on, dog. Like, come on.
I mean, it's been a little bit that he actually been, talking about him. So
I think he's just doing it just to get.
Well, I mean,
to
he
get-
has an album coming out.
Yeah, just
Dramatic.
that's what it is.
I mean, I think the Game in general is just like at a point in his career where he's just acting erratic at times. He's like,
Think he's just trying to stay relevant or something.
yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, because he's still relevant, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's to me. I mean, you said it this whole time. He slept on it. I think he is too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's one of my top 5 greatest rappers of all time.
I don't think that people talk about him enough, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he don't.
if
They
we're
don't.
talking about being overlooked, and then that kind of goes hand in hand with doing really outlandish things to kind of get people's attention to even be in conversation. Because he's really not in conversation And like even to imply that he deserved to be in the Super Bowl performance, like I thought that was pretty fucking crazy from the game to even think that he should have been in the mix. Like
You don't think he should have?
hell no, he shouldn't have been. I mean, really, to be honest with you, up to a certain extent, 50 really shouldn't have been there. It should have really just been Dre and Snoop, Eminem, and like Kendrick represented the new generation.
Yeah.
So I understand Kendrick's contribution, and I understood Mary J being there. 50 was like a bonus, but like there's no way in hell that Game's in that conversation. In that conversation, you're talking about that's God tier. You know what I'm saying? Like he's for real though. Like I'm saying, like that's the top of the top. Like
I completely agree.
You know, like-
But
I
see,
get
the
that.
thing with me is like a lot of people say Game's irrelevant or whatever. Game has only dropped one whack album.
no, I agree. His body of work is great, but I'm talking about like it's how can we word this?
Only one whack album out of. He has the documentary. He has
got
Devil's
so
Advocate,
many albums.
the Red Album, LAX Files, fucking documentary 2, documentary 2.5, Born to Rap. I know I'm missing another one, but it's like, come on, dog.
What I think it is though is it's the fact that what he talks about. I think that only reaches a certain level, to where if you see other
Well, I mean,
people,
if that's the case, then that's the same thing with Nas, because I'm not comparing them, but Nas reaches only a certain level too.
yeah, for sure. And then I mean, look. I mean, you saw what happened with the two albums. Yeah, they were dope as fuck this year. But I mean,
I'm trying to find a good.
he doesn't
comparison.
reach a certain audience.
To the game,
Yeah, I'm trying to find a comparison, like a sports analogy, like I guess like you would say like
fucking Sacramento Kings.
nah, man. You gotta give him a little bit more credit than that. Right?
Nah, Sacramento King. Think about it with Weber, Bibby,
Oh, yeah.
all
yeah.
them niggas. Come on now.
No, I'm thinking more along the lines like NFL quarterbacks, right? Like like Dre's like.
Well,
Tom
then
Brady,
Drew Brees.
Nah, Drew Brees made it. I mean,
He only won one Super Bowl.
but
Game
he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
and Game's one of the greatest rappers of all time.
I mean, I can't even
Touche.
compare, but I'm just saying, I don't think the Game is as recognized for what he's done from his body of work standpoint. But when you're talking about 2022 and people talking about him in 2022, like, I don't think he's talked about. To be honest with you, that's just what it is, and that's when he's talking about, I'm going to challenge Eminem, or I'm going to do like, man, honestly, Game, go ahead. Nobody gives a fuck.
I mean, I would, if you're gonna compare like quarterbacks, I would say maybe like a Phil Simms. He went to 4 straight Super Bowls and never won. He didn't get the recognition
That
he deserves. But Phil Simms was
I was thinking more along those lines of like Ben Roethlisberger, someone that's actually won, but honestly, in his generation, it's okay.
nobody gives a fuck. I mean, that's like an Eli Manning.
He's Eli Manning. There you go. He's Eli Manning.
That's like an Eli Manning.
No, he's
He
better
won-
than Eli Manning. He's more like a Ben Roethlisberger. You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean, I think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. People don't
Eli
think
Manning's
that
better than Ben Roethlisberger.
I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls and the people shit on. People in New York hate him. I'm like, dude, he won 2 Super Bowls. Like, how the fuck you hate him?
when you're playing in
His defense won
if
one.
you're playing in the era of like Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Tom Brady, fucking Peyton Manning, you're gonna get fucking Drew Brees. You're gonna get lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just like what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be NBA players that we look back, years from now, and like, man, nobody even remembers them. Yeah, I was talking about that recently, like, because I grew up in the '90s, obviously. So like, there's guys that were in the All Stars in the '90s that, bro, they don't even get spoken about now. Mm-hmm. And it's like crazy. Like, damn, that fucker was actually really good.
Yep.
But
Number 1 is Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing is one of the greatest centers of all time, but
You think he's
he gets,
forgotten?
Oh yeah.
Nobody talks about him at all.
Gary Payton and
Sean
The
Kemp.
Sean Kemp.
glove.
Oh my God, man!
Larry Johnson was an All-Star.
Yeah, Larry Johnson was great. Even when in Charlotte,
I'm thinking people
Bugs
like
and Bogues.
Glenn Rice,
Bugs and
or
Bogues, for
like
sure.
Eddie Jones, and those guys that were good fucking
Yep.
ball players.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's like nobody remembers them anymore.
Yep.
But it's just a new generation of players coming in, you
Yep.
know.
So
I
you
think-
automatically get overshadowed by
and you
it.
think about Game, it's like Game, to his point, skill wise,
Yeah, he is.
He puts together great albums. He's a super talented artist, but he's not even the biggest rapper in his state. You know what I'm saying? You got people like fucking Snoop and Kendrick. You know what I'm saying?
Kendrick.
Kendrick came along and I think really kind of fucked it all up for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because of how good he is.
You know?
Yeah, Kendrick. Yeah, I think Nipsey dying kind of helped. I mean, that kind of hurt too, because I mean, when Nipsey was alive, I mean, you still have people in California loving him, but he didn't hit that mainstream until he passed, and then for a little bit there, he blew up, you know. And it's sad that shit happens like that, but
that crossed my mind right now. It's like, man, Nip even. Like, if you ask the average person, name your top 5 rappers ever from California, and like, you might not even get the game as one of the answers.
And see, that's what's crazy to me, though.
That is crazy.
Like, if you literally sit down and listen to the Game's albums, like, you could see how great he is. That's why I put him in my top 5, because
he's a great rapper, though. I mean,
his bars are there.
He's a better rapper than Snoop. He's a better rapper than Nipsey Hussle.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Are we just talking about delivery, rapping ability?
If Nipsey was still alive, people would not be, you know, acting the way that they act. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, you know, they say quotes from like Nipsey songs, and I guarantee you they would not be saying that shit right now, just because if he was still alive, nobody would be saying that shit.
I will say that Victory Lap was a great album.
Great album.
But
definitely.
This is one of the reasons why I haven't been as much of a fan of the Game. I know we're kind of like dragging the subject now, but I think with the Game, I've always kind of felt like he emulates certain styles, like, and he's really good at being able to mirror styles.
Yeah.
So like he can rap like other people, but like sometimes I feel like part of what's made me not be as like big on him is that like I feel like he has in certain songs blatantly attempted to sound like the other artist, and so it's like I feel like that's my personal opinion, but I've also heard him get on tracks with people and smash it, you know. So. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
signing off. I gotta go pick up the wifey.
Man.
Hey, tell her to drive herself next week.
I will. Gotta be careful, man. Well, shit.
No, we ain't done yet, though.
We finna start wrapping up, man. We're going on 2 hours, you know. But yeah.
But I mean, back to the whole Game instance. It's like I don't know, man. A lot of people sleep on him, but I hear the reason why a lot of people hate him is because he name drops so much. But he came in the Game rapping like that, so why switch up from that? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like if me and you were rapping and we were rapping about, I don't know, let's just say that we talked about money on every single fucking song, but we worded it different or whatever, like, or we rapped or we named another president this verse or this song. Like, why change it up from that? If we could keep coming at different styles with it or different whatever, like, why change it up if it's getting us love back? You know what I'm saying?
I think people who do that, they're just nitpicking and they're finding things to nitpick and talk bad about them.
To my Game.
Yeah.
Because that's just my personal, like, you know, like I've heard him jump on something. I mean, kind of like it's kind of like. Kind of follows a trend up to a certain extent because he's talented. Like the reason I like documentaries so much was because it had the vintage West Coast sound.
What'd you think about The Doctor's Advocate? Because a lot of people were like, "This is when Game's gonna show his, you know, that 50 didn't write his shit." So you know, so to say, and that album is definitely. A lot of people put that album over the documentary, which is crazy to me.
I like The Doctor's Advocate. I also like LAX.
LAX is dope.
I like LAX a lot.
But I mean, my thing is just I think why people kind of tend to look him because he is the definition of gangster. Even though
he brought the West Coast back.
Well, yeah.
If you want,
he reminds me a lot of what Fabulous is too. We're listening to the Fabulous instrumental. Like what Fabulous is in general. Like Fabulous is an extremely consistently talented artist. Maybe not have
slept on.
Maybe not a strong album output as the Game, but like in terms,
that first album's fucking.
He has a lot of good. He has some good albums and he has really great music.
Yeah.
But
great mixtapes. I don't want to say that.
And a lot of people don't really give him that just due. But you know, people in New York know what it is. You know, people know that you get on track with Fabulous, you got to come with it, or else you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, think about the Fabulous verse on the Carter 3.
Yeah.
He fucking. If anything, he probably had the best verse. But I mean, if Wayne didn't kill it the way he killed it, then Fabulous would have had the best verse on that motherfucker. Yeah. No bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, but you know, Lil Wayne says it himself. He ain't gonna let nobody outshine him on things.
Yeah,
he'll be.
But I mean, Eminem did though. So
he said he ain't gonna let him knock him out like that, like he did everybody else. Like
Jay-Z but Eminem did though, because if you look at it on the No Love, like come on now,
But that's what I think. people kind of like overlook Game. I mean, because you could say oh Pac was gangster, but I mean Pac did a lot of different types of shit. Even when he was portraying that whole gangster look, he still dropped bangers that weren't necessarily gangster. And I think if you don't dive deep into Game, you'll never see that other side of him.
Yeah, and
I think that's why. I mean, they see he's a blood, and that's what he's gonna bring, just straight gangster music, and he'll get overlooked. Because
he got the
like
bars.
I said, start from scratch, bro. I think that's one of the most unique. I don't think I'm not really that well versed in hip hop, but I don't think anybody's ever did a song like you're drunk, and you're just bleeding your heart out.
Well, I mean, and see, he's also done a song on Doctor's Advocate with Busta Rhymes, Doctor's Advocate, where he's drunk.
Yep. And that shit was dope too.
And what's crazy is like he's saying all this shit right now. Like he said that Kanye's done more for Dr. Dre's ever done for him. He's saying this shit about Eminem. You know what? I kind of want him to say this shit now, because let him get drunk again in the studio and let him coming out with another fucking start from scratch, another Doctor's Advocate. Like,
I mean, do you think he was actually drunk in the studio, or do you think he just portrayed it?
He might have been.
Either way, that's just dope. I mean, either way, it's just dope.
I mean, because this goes back to the whole being drunk or whatever. Like, I still think our greatest song / in studio thing was Up a Notch, because
we hit it with that swagger,
because we were drinking, and that was the first song we recorded that night. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have that, and I was like, yo, this is the greatest fucking song of that we've ever recorded, and the greatest song to me.
I don't think so.
What are you talking about?
Mine and David's song.
What song are you talking about?
He's talking about Up a Notch.
I feel you.
But I mean,
because whenever we went to Chico's, we had stopped at 7-Eleven. That was whenever he was recording at the house.
Yeah.
So we had stopped at that 7-Eleven on what is it, North Tarrant?
Yeah, North Tarrant.
We stopped right there at that 7-Eleven, and I was like, yo, like, whatever. So, like, let's get these two 24-ounce cups or beers, and we drank one, and then we drank another one, and shit, the way we came at Up a Notch was totally different.
Those are the days, bro.
That was totally different.
Those are the days, bro.
Trying to make a comeback.
We about to come back.
We got enough beats for it.
Yeah, we do have enough for a fucking album.
Bottom line, the game is dope. Is he slept on? Is he overlooked? Yes, I think that's sometimes why you see him say shit that he says, because I think he feels that way.
Nobody respects him.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of shit that factors into that. I don't think it's the music, because we should always measure artists by music. We should always measure, professional athletes, people in general, based off of their contribution to their craft.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, in the social media era, like, who you date and what you do on the side and whatever antics that you have that you've done, like, it all factors into the way you're perceived. And I think that's a little unfair.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only to the game, but in general. Like, I've dealt with my fair share of that throughout the course of my time just being in the city, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of go like, what the fuck does that have to do with what I've done?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it has nothing to do with what I've done. So I get it, but, at the end of the day, there's no diminishing his skill set, so.
Yeah, that's true, man.
And I got an opportunity to work with the cat, you know what I'm saying? He did a good show for what we did back then, so it was cool. Maybe one day we'll do it again. You never know, right?
That'll be dope as fuck. I'll be there. For sure. Obviously.
That would be dope. But I am excited about that show that you have coming up. There were two of my greatest, my favorite artists ever growing up.
3 6 Mafia coming
up.
Absolutely. I would agree. I think the decision behind getting 3 6 Mafia was more based off of the fact that growing up in North Fort Worth, there was so many Mexicans that always.
Well, that's all it is.
It was all 3 6 Mafia. It was all Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was all Tupac. Now it's all like Zero and shit. Like, so, like, being able to like book 3 6 was like, it was cool, man. It's a little surreal sometimes when I see it too, because it's like, I remember how much like they mean to the other people, the people that I grew up with, like, so.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though: when are you gonna start claiming the king of Fort Worth.
I don't think I'll ever really truly claim the king of Fort Worth, but I think I'm
Humble. He's being humble.
No, I don't think it's about
For
even
real.
being humble. I think I'm a lot more comfortable with owning the idea of being perceived as. You know, they just released a gatekeeper list. I was telling him right now, but before I walked in, I saw some people kind of like throwing shade or whatever. But like, you know, they released the Texas gatekeeper list, and it's only a group of guys that are just trying to highlight the movers and shakers. You know what I'm saying? And by no means do I think this is like the be all end all, but like to be even in conversation now, you know, whereas before, like, you know, what I've been doing for a very long time. It's not like I just started
Long
doing it.
overdue, bro.
That's
Yeah.
why I've been saying it though.
Yeah, it's like-
I've been saying it before this year.
Well, I think the reason Brian is so adamant about it is because he's also seen the amount of people that I've impacted, and not only the amount of people, the frequency, but also the extent of what I've impacted. Like, you know, I was talking to one of the city officials today, and like, I don't think he really quite understood, like, you know, if it's not for Premier Live experience, right? The existence of Premier Live, the existence of myself, like, there's a lot of artists, not just locally, but in general. But really, if we're just magnifying Fort Worth, a lot of their resume would be cut in half or even like less. You know what I mean? Like, you got like, you can read bios on Spotify. Even artists that don't like me, that'll fucking have like, has opened up for her. And it's like all my shows.
Yeah, all
It's
your
like,
shows, yeah.
I'm like, well, damn. You know what I mean? Like,
Give me some credit.
give me
Yeah.
my royalties.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100%. I mean,
So I'm a little bit more comfortable. Like, I understand now, like, you know, being 37, being around as long, you know, like, I've never really, like, did it for titles. I've always just kind of, like, put my head down and just worked. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to understand, like, yeah, you know what, like.
you're like the GM behind the scenes. Like, oh, I'll assemble the team. I'll put it out there, and they'll get all the clout. But I know deep down inside, I know who's doing this shit.
But I also think that as I've gotten older, there was a few instances where I've connected some people, you know what I'm saying, where, like, I got no credit for it, and then, like, I go online and I'm like, oh, I'm the one that put this together, and I look like a fucking idiot, like, having to do that.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
like, you know, people would look at it like you're cloud chasing because you're talking about putting an event, you know, putting a meeting together that you're not even present at. But I'm like trying to explain, like, you know what? I could see your perspective, but like, I'm having to do this because the people that I'm setting it up for aren't doing it.
Right.
And I've seen interviews and I've done certain things for certain people that they won't even say that I've done it. And so it's like people might look at my contributions kind of like at surface value right now and be like, yo, he's done a lot here, but then they don't even know how much more I've done down here because it doesn't get discussed.
Right.
Well, I mean, you did a tour with Westside Boogie,
That was dope.
which is a slept-on artist in my opinion.
Yeah, it's extremely slept on.
I mean, you've done shit with Paul Wall. You've obviously done shit with Chamillionaire before, and now you're doing the shit with him now.
Yeah.
And then now you're doing shit with 3-6,
I mean, but not only that though. It's
Crooked
like
Eye.
you're vast.
But yeah.
I mean, you've done. I mean,
I was at WrestleMania.
That's exactly what I was gonna
See,
get at.
I was about to.
That's it, exactly what I was gonna get
I
at.
should have said all this shit at the beginning.
I drove to WrestleMania with one of the guys that was on the card. Like, it wasn't like I went in there as
Who
a
was
fan.
it?
It was my boy MVP.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm an MVP through booking Eric being Rakim and Chino Extender Mortal Technique. Like,
We need to find like a fucking like a little button that's like dropping jewel or like
yeah.
like every time this nigga name drops.
Nah,
This
like-
nigga like the game.
That's what I really like talking about it sometimes, but like, I realize, like, all right, you know, like, I'm not stupid, bro.
Nobody really listens. So.
Yeah, like I'm like when we're talking about like the idea of like getting credit, what I've realized is if you give people the opportunity to not give you credit, they won't give you credit.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a lot more sensitive to it now because it's like I need credit. I need credit because it could lead to the next job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I try my hardest to go get it whenever I can, but there's still people that don't give it, you know,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
quite
for
honest
sure.
with you. Like, and you know, it is what it is, bro. I mean, there's nothing I can do about those specific situations, but all I can do is maintain my position and go, hey, you know what? Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, you know, and just kind of grind it out. But
I mean, like I said, you're so vast. I mean, you don't just do hip hop. You do boxing. You do
Yeah.
wrestling. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. How many people in the city of Fort Worth can say
Nobody.
they've actually been in
Nobody.
the same room or right next to any of the people that you've
yeah,
been
yeah. Well, and it's not
in
just
the
that.
presence
It's
of?
also,
Nobody.
It's also like dictate the conversations and the type of conversations,
Yeah.
and I'm dictating it. Like you're talking about, you know, acting as an artist, going from an artist to a producer to a promoter to to a manager, to an agent, a graphic designer, a web designer, a social media manager. Like I manage a lot of people's social media accounts. Like, and then and then still jump into media personality and do interviews and interview people like the people that you've seen, and being able to kind of go into all these different spectrums of like, I can go do an interview with Selena's husband, Selena's brother, Selena's best friend, Selena's bandmate, and then turn around and do a pro wrestling interview and interview these pro wrestlers, and then turn around and interview Bun B, and in the process know what I'm talking about.
And all this, you don't write shit down, right? You do
I
it
don't
all
write
on
it.
the fly.
It's all on the fly. I kind of get a general idea what I'm going to go into it with, but I do it all off the top, and then
It's the passion. It's the stuff that you see all the time that you've lived with and you've built up to get to this point. That you have all this shit already locked up that you've been wanting.
That
to
nigga
say.
said, "Little flip step aside, I'm the real freestyle."
and I've done it independently. I think it's the most overlooked thing. And so, they asked me yesterday. I did an interview last night. And they asked me like, "Who's the Mount Rushmore in Fort Worth?" I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Fort Worth music," and I was like, "I don't know. That's a weird question." And so I gave him my answer. But I told him I was like, "I'm on that motherfucker."
Yeah, you got it.
I feel that way because, like I told him, and it's no different than I'll tell you guys. It's not to stroke my own ego as much as it is like there wasn't a me whenever I was coming up for me. Like I didn't. There wasn't anybody that looked like me that did what I did.
Yep.
So to come along and be able to do some things, like of course I recognize it. And whether or not that comes with the title of being the king or not, that's up to the public to kind of decide that. But I've realized that if I don't brand SmoothVega, like I literally saw someone today. This is a true story. While I'm sitting over here talking about this, I literally saw somebody today completely try to take credit away from what I've done and try to give someone else the credit for it. We're like, oh, well, he didn't elevate until somebody else came into the picture, which I'm not going to get into, right? But I was just kind of like, the fact that people will do anything to like try to like diminish and discredit and try to like substitute that for hard work is so fucking mind-boggling to me.
Yep.
But you know what, man? Been here this long, and to be here 20 plus years and still be pushing forward and then up to a certain extent still perform at a high level. I just sold out a show with Zero in March. And there was 1,200 people there.
I was on call, man. I wish I would have went to that.
Bro, that was
We talked about it.
But think about this shit, bro. This is 2022. This shit's happening. I was selling out shows in 2007. That's 15 years ago with 1,200 people. That's a long period of time to be doing something at that high of a level. You know what I mean?
And see, that's why I say the king of Fort Worth.
Now, let me ask you this though: as just the city of Fort Worth, would Dickies be the pinnacle of what, like a venue wise?
I'll say this, man. Like that's actually a great question. I think about that shit a lot. Honestly, man, like there's a big part of me that does want to move from Fort Worth. I love Fort Worth. It's my home. It'll always be my home. But there's a point in time where you're like, okay, I've kind of outgrown home. And Fort Worth is the 12th biggest city in the United States. It's obviously not a small city by any stretch of the imagination, especially the amount of people that live here. But I've also said, like, what is there left for me to do here? I mean, what am I going to do? Sell out Dickies Arena and then what?
Yeah.
And then what? Like, what else is like? Like, I'm gonna wait.
Sell out the fucking Bass Hall.
Like, what am I gonna do?
A Dickies is way.
Yeah, like, what am I gonna do? Like, have a street named after me or get a statue. Like, bro, I don't know what else I could do at that point.
Right.
And if I decided today to never do another event in Fort Worth, like, I feel like you can't tell me anything because I've done my service here.
Absolutely.
Let somebody else come along, and unfortunately, there's not enough people coming along. But I think to answer the question, it probably would be. But I think for me, just in full transparency, when or if that does happen, or I'm going to say when it happens, I'm performing. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, I would too.
I'm like, no, I earned that. I earned that because I've never performed at my own shit.
Yeah,
I don't perform my own shit. But if I'm in an arena and I'm in my city, you're not.
You have to do it.
Yeah, give me that motherfucking microphone. Yeah. And I'll turn into Dre. You know what I'm saying?
Let me bring this motherfucker out.
I'd go all out because for me, like, I earned that moment.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody can tell me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Oh fuck yeah. But I've envisioned that moment for a very long time. I used to sit there and go, man, one day I want to do the Fort Worth Convention Center.
Yeah.
And just walk in and just look at everything and be like, I did this. You know what I'm saying? But maybe I think people would look like, oh, well, it wasn't you that did it. You weren't the one selling it out. Like, you were not the artist. I don't care. I got here. I made it happen somehow or another. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's hard even whenever I'm booking Chamillionaire 3-6. Like, of course I want to just go up there and do my thing. But I'm able to create opportunities for people like XB Valentine, who I'm managing, or other artists that I work with, and put them in position because, I'm older. I have no desire to go back on the road and try to grind it down and try to be exposed to this new generation of people. Like, if you know who I am and you fuck with what I do, cool. But like, I think that would be the pinnacle for forward. And I have to start looking long term too, man. Like, I take a lot of pride in doing events in Dallas and Houston, which are two of the top 6 markets. I was able to do some with SOBs New York last year. Like, I want to do some more stuff in LA. Like, I've been to LA. I was at the Be Real podcast. I set some stuff up for Cav G. I've done a few interviews out there as well. Like, I mean, I want to expand. I think I get told a lot. My barber, shout out to Nice, like, will always tell me, like, dog, you should be a fucking millionaire by now. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And I feel like there's reasons why. Discipline, lack of aggression, lack of self-belief up to a certain extent. Like, I maybe didn't always believe that. But now I'm like, I believe it. And I'm like, it's going to require doing more.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's human nature. Like, everything you just said, that's human nature. That's what kind of falls in everybody's head. But it's that moment when you have to, kind of get up and do it and believe in yourself. Because, dude, you've done, he said it. I definitely agree with him. You've done more for this than anybody else I've seen in here, bro.
And it's
nobody's ever brought any shows like this or doing interviews behind the scenes like with the WWE and all that. Like,
Triller,
nobody's ever
any fucking body.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, I try to, because you know what, man, Vince McMahon's a big inspiration to me. But I saw an interview that he did recently, and every time I see a new interview on him, it's like opening up a new book.
Yeah.
And he said, they asked him, like, so, you know what, how'd you get where you got, Vince? And his answer's always straightforward. It's always like, well, I just did it.
Yeah.
I just went after it and I got after it. Like, he doesn't have any fancy answers, but the one thing he said is, like, I don't believe in ceilings. And I started watching this motherfucker, and I'm like, man, I don't even realize how embedded that shit is into me at this point, because I grew up watching and aspiring to just do. And so, like, I'm like, bro, like, I don't believe in ceilings. I don't believe that there's a such thing as ceilings. Like, there's no limits to what you can do. And if you just want to do some shit, just do it. So I tried my hardest, like, like, I've had some pretty surreal moments over the past few years. Whenever we were at the Jesse Vargas thing, that was one of the things that with Mikey Garcia, we were on the field, like, even being able to work with Matchroom and do a podcast. I had only had my podcast for like a month or two, and setting up on the field, I had to get permission from the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys aren't letting people just go on the practice squad field and like, oh yeah, go ahead and shoot your podcast. Being able to be at Triller and have conversations with, obviously I interviewed Rampage Jackson and, being around some of these people, like, dude, I just got a new car, right? This funny story, like, and just, I haven't even owned the car for a week and I've already had fucking Kurt Angle in my car and RVD and fucking Rikishi, and then Angie got a Bronco and we've already had Bumby and his wife in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, the old car, I've had, like, it's some pretty surreal shit that goes on. Like, I'm like, damn, dog, like I can't, like it doesn't really hit you until you start going, like, damn, bro, what the fuck? Like, some shit, you wouldn't think about that shit, bro. Like,
I mean, I never wanted this. I don't want it to turn in like an interview, like we're interviewing you, but just question. All these people, bro, who were you starstruck with?
I was gonna ask that question.
I don't know that I've ever really been starstruck because I've gotten really comfortable around all these people.
Well, I mean, because you've met a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what phase of my life, because whenever I was a fan and I was standing in stores, like, of course, like, meeting Chamillionaire was a big deal to me the first time I met him.
But being in your position right now.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kurt Angle was cool. I mean, I don't know that I was starstruck. I mean, as soon as we got in the car, we talked. He called me, I talked. I didn't hesitate. I've been intimidated, probably more so than anything. Being around Rob Van Dam was really cool because that was kind of like a surreal thing. But I wouldn't say I've been starstruck by any of these guys to where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in the same room as him. I mean, like,
really?
I don't think I've had that moment hit yet. But I will say that.
I mean, not even like Crazy Bone when you first saw Crazy Bone.
Nah, not even.
Imagine, man, like everything he's done. For
he's
music.
even met Busy Bone.
Yeah, I have. I'd say Busy Bone was probably one of them. Busy Bone, just because what he meant to my childhood. Like, I mean, like, it was cool. It was cool to be able to tell him, like, I would say Ice Cube was probably the one. I met Ice Cube in Arkansas a couple months ago, and he wasn't coming in, and I was with Paul Wall and them, and then Paul had just left, so I stuck around with Unique, and he comes in, and like that's the first time I had ever felt like you. I don't know,
oh shit,
like not even an oh shit moment. It's like this motherfucker looks like he's walking out of a TV screen. You know what I'm saying? Like it just
Are we there yet?
yeah.
it just felt real. Like this is crazy, and I met him. Like, and I'm a fan, but I'm like the biggest fan. It was more like the significance of it. But I think to that whole point where like I have met a lot of people and I've done a lot of shows, but I've never really wanted to be defined strictly on who I'm associated with and
Right.
who I've promoted and who I've done this with. Like, because you also have to factor in like being able to do public speaking engagements at elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and now even going to TCU and talking to the kids at TCU. Like I last year whenever Deborah Peoples was running for mayor of Fort Worth, like her whole entire campaign reached out to me last minute in hopes to sway the Hispanic vote. Like imagine like nobody would have thought that like 10, 15 years ago. Now you're reaching out to me to help you.
That boy, the political side's
Yeah,
reaching
like,
out to you.
That
bro.
shit right there should
Man.
stamp.
Yeah, like
King of Fort Worth,
like
nigga.
to me, that's like I know for sure that some of these other artists aren't getting those phone calls. Like whenever
Hell
like
no.
Beto O'Rourke was coming to Fort Worth, they were talking about like, well, hey, he wants to sit down with you. Like now we're going into uncharted territory. So when I was talking to my man at the city earlier today, I was letting him know. I was like, yo, man, like I'm not everybody else, respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a reach that clearly a lot of people don't know, and maybe I don't even recognize. When you have a potential mayor candidate reach out to me to help her try to sway her election in her favor,
Yep.
that's a big responsibility, but that's also something I've never heard of anybody doing around here. Like I'm sure Goyeo's not getting that phone call, you know what I'm saying? or Twisted Black or whoever else. As much as I got love for those guys, they're just not getting that call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
like I always kind of go back. Like, man, imagine that being a high school dropout, eventually graduating from homeschool, but being from north of Fort Worth, being a Mexican, you're the one getting the calls to like, hey, help us out. You know what I mean? Like, help me win my fucking election. I remember I did a little interview piece with her, and as soon as we were done, like we finished, and then we stopped filming, and then the guy starts clapping. I guess the guy that was in charge of her campaign, he's like, we just won the election, which they didn't. But,
I was just about to say.
No,
you didn't.
But the fact that they saw me with that type of reach, and the fact that they even reached out to me, man, lets me know like, okay, this is, and even talking to TCU, whenever they hit me up to talk to TCU, or most recently, bro, this is a true story. I went to TCC, and one of the professors reaches out to me, and I met with the fucking dean of the school. The dean of the school was like, "Hey, so we got a program that we're gonna do. We're gonna get a 6-figure grant for 2023, and we want to do a big event where they're gonna do like a public speaking engagement, and they want. I think they were talking about bringing Chuck D from Public Enemy.
What the fuck?
Chuck D from Public Enemy. They had like somebody else that they had in mind.
Those people probably don't even know who Chuck D is.
No, I know. I was like, man, I told them that actually. You do realize that the college students have no idea who the fuck that is, right? You know what I'm saying?
They didn't know that he had to fight the power, right?
But the guy was bringing me in because he wanted me not only to speak on the panel and be one of the speakers, but also kind of influence and impact what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And they felt my opinion was valid and needed. So it's like you start having more and more conversations. I'm not even 40 yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these are conversations that are being had. So
That's great, man.
So-
I mean, that shit is fantastic. And I don't see. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, but there was never a point, because I mean, I know I would. There was never a point where you kind of just looked back and said, "Yeah, motherfucker, this is me, bro. Like I did this shit. I'm meeting all these people. I'm making these moves. I'm doing this shit."
All the time, bro. I had released a video for my birthday, and it was like a career recap.
Oh, that shit was dope.
Yeah, and when I dropped that shit, it
This
was
nigga called me.
yeah. I was like, bro, that to me is a big middle finger to anybody and everyone that ever doubted, that ever had anything negative to say, because what I think the narrative for so long was like I wasn't like, I used to call myself the Tim Tebow, right? Like
Yeah.
like I was like, dog, you would always underestimate me, like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, but I always won.
Yeah.
But I think like in this case, like so many people were like, oh, you know what I'm saying, like this guy's whatever. And then they start attacking my character, start attacking my integrity, start attacking just shit about me, like just to find shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then to be able to kind of continue to do, it says a lot about, my drive, my hunger, and of course, like, bro, I look at my career, and you can put me next to just about anybody around here, and it's really kind of lopsided, So
Yeah, definitely.
So
it's not kind of lopsided. It is.
Come on, talk your shit.
Nah,
It's like you put on the balance beat, that bitch ding, like real quick, bro.
yeah, I mean, people could disagree.
Carry weight, dog.
But it is what it is. Like, so I don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? I don't take it for granted because at any given time the shit could be taken away. But
Absolutely.
I do know that.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, is like you've helped a lot of artists. Obviously, we didn't get to where we wanted to be, but you helped us. You helped K1. You helped Gibby. You helped, you fuck with Lou Charles. Obviously, your artist, XB Valentine. Louis, you got fucking.
But you're just talking to people that you know.
Exactly.
We're not even talking about the guys in Dallas, the guys in San Antonio.
Exactly.
Houston, the guys really in general. There's so many people and.
But see, you don't get that credit. People don't see that shit. People don't know that you. I mean, like with us, like obviously we didn't do as much as we wanted to do, but maybe you just like, this is the potential that they could reach, which we don't. I mean, that's cool.
No, I think with you guys, it was like just like more of an experiment, but also like, I wasn't fully in tune with like my leadership skills. I knew I had a leadership skill, but I didn't know how to like. Truly like go like what is it that everybody wants, like I don't think that was ever like a clear definition. So like I always, and I made a mistake of always basing everybody's want off of my want, like if I know how much I wanted, but I expected everybody to want it as much, and if they didn't show me that they wanted as much, I was just like, okay, well, let them do their thing, and then eventually we'll see what happens. I think Raji was a primary example of someone that like I knew he said he wanted it, and I know he looked up to me, but whenever I put the ball in his hands or I just kind of let him be, like eventually you saw like, this isn't really what he wants.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? But like I've been using this a lot lately. I was like, not everybody's meant to be Kobe. Some people, it's cool being Pau Gasol. Or some people are gonna be Derek Fisher. Some people are gonna be Lamar. And you can have a great career in doing so.
Laker talk.
Derek Fisher.
Why can't you say Spurs, dog?
Spurs, not everybody's gonna be Tim Duncan. Not everybody's
Spurs.
Not everybody's gonna be David Robinson. Some people are gonna be fucking Ginobili. Some people are gonna.
Hey, Ginobili's in the Hall of Fame.
Some people exactly. There's nothing wrong with not being a star player, though. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. But I mean, there's also things that I've done behind the scenes for artists that nobody even knows. Like whether it be like I've helped finance certain things for certain people, and I've never spoken about it. I've bit the bullet for so many people so they could be in position. Yep. And I don't think that's the thing I'll never really talk about.
Well, so there's people that were in the Fort Worth hip hop scene that talk down on you, which is stupid to me. I mean, there's no reason to. I mean, you didn't have to help them, get on shows with Chamillionaire. You didn't have to help them get on shows with, a Lil Flip or whatever. I mean,
whoever it was at the time.
Whoever it was at the time. Hey. Exactly. Like, there's no reason for anybody to hate on you.
Well, I would say this, like, I think too, man, like, just in all transparency, like, to your point, like, there's a lot of guys that I used to work with, it doesn't matter, I mean, we can name them, I don't really care, but whoever it is that I used to work with that I don't work with now, like, I can assure you there's never been a conversation as to why we don't work with each other. They've never picked up the phone and told me, hey, I'm not fucking with you because of fill in the blank. Right. And so, to me, I always look at...
It was jealousy.
I look at relationships like this. If you can't address it directly, like, A, you don't value the relationship that much, or B, you've already made up your mind, but you're also avoiding having the conversation, which, if you're not man or woman enough to have a conversation and be communicative about it, then it's not really an issue. At least not to me. Yeah. Because I know if I have an issue with you, I'm going to call you and be like, hey, bro, I don't think that's cool. I'm going to let you know. Like, of course, certain people believe in the cutoff mentality. I'm just going to cut them off. But you're really just tucking away an issue that eventually will resurface if you don't address it.
Yeah, that's like if me and you were not to talk for a certain long time and, like, I had an issue with you, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to just push it to the side because we don't talk so much. And then whenever you call... then I could be like, oh, you know what? I have this issue with you. It's like, nigga, well, why didn't you let me know?
Yeah, man, we can always have the conversation, and whether we agree or disagree, it doesn't really matter. But I've seen that, and I mean, like, I'm an understanding person. The older that I've gotten, I just chalk it up to a lot of it may be professional jealousy. A lot of it probably is professional jealousy. A lot of people are projecting their insecurities and their shortcomings on me, or maybe some people might even feel like I'm at fault for some of their shortcomings.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, one thing that no one can.
But that's not your responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe people's expectation levels are different. No expectations, no disappointments. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They want handouts, bro. They want to be ushered along the way, you know, to wherever they want to be. And if they feel like, hey, you're not helping me get there, then.
But I also believe that there's people that get influenced. You know, when you have outside influence.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think the narrative, and I've seen people write stuff online on social media, and I screenshotted a lot of stuff over the years. Like, I'm like on that Tom Brady mentality where I put it on a fucking bulletin board and throw darts at it. Yeah. There's a lot of people that had like narratives that really thought that like I was gonna be out of here by now, and the fact that I've not only remained active but in a sense performed at a higher level as time has gone on, not only proves that I want it, but proves that they were wrong.
And that proves that you're the king of Fort Worth. Go ahead and say it.
Well, I mean, you know, we speak on wrestling. I know all three of us grew up wrestling fans.
The Attitude Era.
I mean, I liked them before.
Hey, the Peacock. Before you continue, the Peacock app is like the most wonderful fucking thing ever.
Great, bro.
You got that?
That shit's so good.
Dog, I've been watching Monday Nitro for like the past few days.
Bro, I literally watched Monday Night War all the way through, bro. That shit is fantastic.
It's only
great.
like $10 a month.
Yeah, it's just great.
For the no ads.
Yeah, but I mean, I believe you mentioned it last week, but I forgot who you were. I think I remember what you had said.
Oh,
what is your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers all time?
Oh yeah, it's fucking The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Hulk Hogan. I mean, I think John Cena can alternate with The Undertaker, but I think The Undertaker solidified, you know what I'm saying?
John Cena alternate with The Undertaker? Really?
I mean, you're going based just on influence alone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I get that 100%.
I'm talking about, the whole, I mean, because, you know, like Hogan is what made wrestling, he was the face of the mainstream.
He was the face of wrestling.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
when at
his peak, I would argue that nobody was ever bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because he came in the 80s, and then obviously Stone Cold was the only one that could really rival his popularity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would say that Stone Cold exceeded it based off of merchandise sales, but it was also a different era.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Now, if Stone Cold was as red hot as Hogan was in the 80s, maybe we have a different story because Hogan didn't benefit from the internet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but then obviously The Undertaker's longevity, there's no denying his character work and everything he's done is just... There's never going to be another. And then The Rock, just off of what he was able to do. But the reason why I don't always put The Rock in the conversation, I mean, The Rock's my favorite, one of my favorites, if not my favorite, but he didn't have a long career. He's like the Barry Sanders of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
He came in fucking...
At his peak and then boom.
Fucking broke all the...
Nah, y'all don't remember whenever he was with the who was it?
He broke all the records. You know, he really only had a 7-year career.
Yeah.
Y'all don't remember whenever he was Rocky Balboa? Yeah, the Nation.
Nation of Domination. Yeah. But that's when he first came. Like, he first came in as Rocky Maivia.
Yeah, Rocky Maivia.
Yeah, he was Rocky Maivia, and then he started
Balboa.
Yeah. Then he went into the Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
And then they had that feud with DX, and then they started seeing that he's a bigger star than Nation of Domination. That's when he broke off. Then that's when he crossed paths with Stone Cold. But once he got to that pinnacle, that was it. Then he went for bigger and better things.
Yeah, I mean, he left at top. You know, he didn't have a long career, but he's still, at his peak, you know.
What he did, the impact that he showed in the ring and definitely on the mic, nobody can rival.
Well, the thing is, like, with the Hogan era, you had, Macho Man, you had Ultimate Warrior, you had a few people that kind of were his dancing partner. Mm-hmm. Stone Cold needed The Rock, and The Rock needed Stone Cold.
Yep.
So, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore. So, I mean, I got an opportunity to be around some of these guys. I got an opportunity to be in, at WrestleMania, kind of be exposed to that world. So, like, being around it, like, there's certain people that play a bigger role that we may not know, like, but those are the guys that I really, like, it's hard to dispute it, for me at least, Yeah. I mean, then again, it's like I told him, are we talking about wrestlers? Because if we're talking about professional wrestling, then we got to knock one of those guys off and put Vince McMahon at the fucking middle of that bitch. You know what I mean? Because we're not having any conversation.
That's facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Eric Bischoff, you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, Bischoff, even, was a big part of that shit.
I mean, I didn't realize how big Paul Heyman was behind the scenes. Like, he was huge, and he still looked upon like as
Yeah,
you know, you're the guy of ECW, but now he's done a lot more.
He discovered the Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? Like he was one of the Undertaker's manager back before the Undertaker.
I mean, he helped Stone Cold usher along after the failed WCW career. Yeah,
he was his manager in WCW.
I forgot he was in WCW.
Yeah, bro.
Damn.
He was his manager in WCW. He was Undertaker's manager in WCW.
Yep.
Man,
yeah, dude.
That is
Paul Heyman is. Like I'm telling you, if you look at that Monday Night War, you see all this shit. It kind of breaks it down. It doesn't break down a lot, but I mean, it does dabble in it. But as far as like technical wrestling, who's your top
Bret
five?
Hart, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit for sure off top, and then I think you throw if you're just talking about technicality.
Damn, he gave those names quick.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, and then Shawn Michaels not so much from a technical standpoint, but just as much just being someone that was great in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously I'd put AJ Styles in the mix now. And number 5, or you could rotate with like a Daniel Bryan, but for sure, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle.
Who's your greatest tag team match?
Greatest tag team of all time?
Hold on, before you answer that, where do you put Chris Jericho on there?
I put Jericho high. I don't put him in the
Really?
Those guys right there though, like they're
Better than Chris Benoit? I mean, I think
Chris Benoit was fucking.
he was. He fucking absolutely was.
Yeah.
Especially when he was in WCW.
Yeah,
I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he's good.
I mean,
So was Eddie Guerrero.
I still remember. I don't know if you remember. It was a best of 7 series that Chris Benoit had with Booker T. It was in Monday Nitro, man, for the television title, bro. That shit was fantastic. Like every week they fought another match against each other, bro.
Who would I say in the tag team? That's a good question. Greatest tag team or best tag team? I don't know, man. That's tough. Like
Greatest tag teams?
he asked me who my favorite tag team of all time was.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I would
Because
say,
we talked about it last week.
I mean, I'd say the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom was probably my favorite. You know what I mean? The Steiner Brothers were one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying?
They were hard.
But I would say the Road Warriors, and then I mean, it's hard to kind of dispute. Like in today's generation, the Hardy Boys are by far the most
They were my
influential.
favorite.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys are probably right up there, influential. But
Dudley Boys too.
I was kind of checked out with tag team wrestling after like the '90s, because I was into the Hart Foundation, the Rockers, and all those guys.
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah. Bushwhackers. Yeah.
But you know what, man? I'll say this, and I'm gonna conclude because I got to head out because my daughter's been texting me like over and over. But I'll say that pro wrestling has influenced me so much, and like from the way that they present their product, that's influenced me a lot in how I present my product. You know what I'm saying? It's also how the way I tend to want to develop talent. I base it off of like a lot of the ideologies and psychology that pro wrestling has, and I try to like apply it to music, because a lot of people don't realize they Vince McMahon's real big on saying, you got to go after the brass ring. If you're trying to be a superstar, you got to go after it. And I feel like within the realm of music, you have to really want to go after that brass ring and go after what it is that you want if you really want it. You know what I'm saying? And I admire the way that they do, not just WWE, but just pro wrestling in general knows how to continuously develop new talent. Yeah. Because there's always a crop of new talent that comes in, and that's something that I strive to do with hip hop and music in general. Is always look for the next generation of talent to come in and create farming systems that we can eventually find to develop and find the next Styling Grace, the next K1, the next Gibbs, the next Louis, the next whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like the next crop of guys that are eventually going to go on to attempt to pursue music, you know what I'm saying? And, I always go, man, like Tupac said it once upon a time, right? I might not be the person that changes the world, but I'm definitely going to be the person that sparks the mind of the person that does. And I feel like within that realm, pro wrestling's done a lot of that for me, because I watch so many documentaries of, how much sacrifices these guys made. And I always go, man, it's not always about skill. Sometimes it's about will, man, because, you can coach and you could teach people technique. You could teach people, how to develop as an artist and how to develop as a rapper. And even if they're not the best, you could still develop them. You can write raps for them, but you can't teach somebody the want to go hard and be better.
The Stone Cold documentary.
Yeah, you see these shits and I'm like, man, these motherfuckers were like, nah, man, I only made $30. I stepped out of the car. Like, you motherfuckers are crazy.
Yeah, bro. Working 300 days a year for nothing, bro.
For chump change, bro. I was talking to RVD the other day, and he was telling me his first check when he got to WWE, he's like, dude, I was making $5,000 on the indies, and when I go into WWE, because I thought it was, time to go to the big times, so the very first check I got for them was $500. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, oh, they gave him the whole spiel about how they pay out, because they get paid out like regular employees, like once a week or once every 2 weeks, they get a check, you know what I mean? And he got his check, in the middle of a cycle. And he's like, bro, what the fuck? But like, people don't understand like how much you have to sacrifice for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Shit doesn't, anything that's worth having doesn't come easy.
Yep.
So I see a lot of people, they get discouraged, they quit, they feel the need to move, they want to leave, try to find an easy way out, because it's easier to quit, or it's easier to kind of go another direction than to see something through. And I just, that's kind of where I'm at with it. All that shit that we were talking about a little while ago about being the king of forward. Like, honestly, whether I am or not, whether when it's all said and done, they say that I am, I know that I saw, I came, and I conquered. That's all I could say.
That's well said,
I said what
fucking said.
I went after it.
Well fucking said.
And y'all motherfuckers did it. So at the end. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna head to the crib.
Yeah, no, man.
My daughter keeps on texting me like, oh, you coming home?
Yeah, I appreciate, SmoothVega coming and stopping by. Of course, again, man, go out to Centro Popular, bro. Go to this show that he has going, 3-6 Mafia, Chamillionaire, bro. That's how it's going down, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I want to say thank you. You're always welcome. Like I said, dog, you're the king of Fort Worth. I don't care what anybody says. That's shots at anybody that's rapping, anybody that's doing anything. I'll say it. But keep doing what you're doing. I'm super proud of you. And I'll tell you that on and off the air, it really doesn't matter. I'm not going to fucking hold back on my tongue. You obviously know that. So, congrats on everything that you're doing. Keep doing your thing. Until next time, you come on and shit. We're super proud of you, dog.
My man, all love. Let's get it. Appreciate it.
Again, man, until next time, bro. Check out Ramblin' Mob Podcast, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Until next time, you heard?
Yes, sir.